Hey everyone, welcome back to the Eyes on Leafs podcast. This is episode 21. Coming off of Stars versus Avs Game 7 last night, Jets versus Blues Game 7 tonight. Leafs schedule just came out, I think this episode is going to be a little bit less Leafs focused. There's not a lot going on with the team. We're kind of just sitting here waiting for the game, which is tomorrow night. We're recording this Sunday afternoon. So tomorrow night is game 1 against Florida, like we said in the last episode. Chris Johnson was the first on that. But we're going to do a lot more league-focused stuff today. There's just a lot going on that's not Leaf-centric. So I'm going, first of all, we are going to start with a little bit of Leaf stuff, just very brief, and then we're going to keep it moving. First of all, congratulations to the Marners. They had their first kid today. Welcome the baby son to the family. So Mitch is in our practice today.
Skipping practice like a bum.
Okay, man.
Soft.
Okay, man.
Obviously joking around.
Yes, congratulations
obviously
to the Marner family.
Guys.
Hopefully some
Awesome.
new dad strength for the playoffs.
Hopefully he gets positive dad strength and not Morgan Riley dad strength. But we'll see.
Where he's just tired.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's Simone Benoit dad strength and not.
All right, and then sticking with the Leafs, this last Leafs topic, then we're moving on. The full schedule came out for round 1, and I'll just read it out. May 5th, obviously tomorrow, 8 p.m. puck drop for game 1. Game 2, May 7. We'll talk about it. I think me and Seb agree on what pisses us off here. But Wednesday will be game 2 at 7 p.m. And then game 3 is Friday, May 9th. Time has not been decided. All the times from here on out are not decided, and if obviously game 5, 6, and 7 are if necessary. Game 4, Sunday, May 11th. 5, Wednesday, May 14th. 6, Friday, May 16th. And game 7, Sunday, May 18th. And I think what me and Seb are really pissed off about is I don't know how the Leafs don't get a Saturday night game out of the whole series.
Like what?
That just doesn't make any sense.
How do you not have like? I feel like
the thing that pisses me off is that the teams that get the Eastern Conference that get the Saturday game, it's the Canes versus the Caps.
What? How?
Yeah,
dude,
I don't know.
Not like even if the series goes to game 7, it's gonna be on a Sunday.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Leafs.
And the thing is we always get Saturday night games because we have a contract with Sportsnet, I believe, where every single game is national, and we always play Saturday night primetime 7 p.m. And you see a lot of the Western Conference markets that are really upset because it's always 7 p.m. Eastern puck drop. So a lot of times if they're out on the West Coast, it's like a 4 p.m. local puck drop, 5 p.m. local. But it's just really weird. I mean,
so
I don't know.
odd.
I'm kind of disappointed with this scheduling. Obviously, it is what it is. I don't really care. I was gonna watch a game, or I'll watch every game regardless of the time, date, whenever they just have puck drop at 2 in the morning, and I'd be up watching it.
I mean, it works out okay for me because my work schedule is usually like I end up working like Tuesday, Thursday in the evening.
It kind of works out.
So round 1 was kind of rough, but this week. It's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, so I'm gonna be able to catch most of the games. But still, I mean, it's gonna be weird Saturday night, and there's no Leafs hockey on when
no Leaf game,
like especially in the playoffs. They normally set it up to get the Leafs on a Saturday, and this time it's like they just completely ignored it.
Dude, the weird thing is that they don't even have other Canadian markets competing with them. Like if it was Montreal, like that beat Washington and they were in the second round with Carolina, I could kind of like understand. Like you want to split it up and it's the playoff scheduling is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But no, it's 2 American markets that aren't even the biggest markets in hockey. Like it's Carolina and Washington.
If there's like concerts in Toronto and Florida that are fucking with
maybe
that could be it.
Maybe in Florida, because that would be, I guess. Yeah, I have no idea. The other thing, I mean, it's not a big deal. It's
but I think they keep the playoff dates open though. Like I think they keep playoff dates open so they don't have
what
to.
They do in Florida, right? Because game 4 would be, but game 7
yeah.
Would be in
But
Toronto.
the other thing about Florida is that they don't. I don't know how many concerts they have at Sunrise, because I think a lot of the concerts, if you go through Miami, is in Miami where the Heat play, right? So I don't know. Like that's just or Orlando or I mean I don't know. That's just me kind of wondering out loud.
Other kind of weird thing, and like it's not the biggest deal in the world because it's only a 1 hour difference, but like at 8
p.m. puck drop time. I wonder if that's because of the lottery, the draft lottery, which will be.
That's true.
Which will be on Monday or tomorrow. So we'll see about that. We'll have some sort of reaction videos to that probably on the next pod. But I do want to move on from the Leafs because I don't really think there's much more you can really dissect with the schedule.
We went over everything
yeah,
last episode, really.
I do have an answer for you. Vibs Cartel is playing at Amaranth Bank Arena on May 17th, which is Saturday. I don't know who the fuck that is, though.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay. May 17th.
May 17th, yeah. Apologies to
Which
sorry,
would
it's probably
be-
Vibes Cartel. Oh my god, I'm such a fucking idiot. Vibs. Jesus.
Vibs. Yeah, May 17th,
Yeah,
you
May
said?
17th.
I guess that would be the Saturday night. You're right, game 6 if necessary.
I
Okay.
guess.
All right, so moving on from the Leafs, we got last night we had Stars versus Avs game 7. This has been a great series, and I thought honestly through 2 periods the game was kind of mid. I didn't really think it was all that much, but the third period, man, it's crazy, and I think my bracket's completely cooked now. Like I had the Avs beating the Leafs in the cup final.
All of ours are kind of cooked now, honestly.
Going in.
Well, Jacob has Dallas.
Yeah,
so.
I had Dallas winning that series in 7, so I'm fine. I have Dallas winning the cup, so I'm looking pretty good right now. My bracket's actually okay.
I think majority of people had the winner of that series either going to the final or being the cup winner. Like it
was a coin flip series, man. Like it wasn't.
You see it in the end. The Avs were leading that game 2-0 for most of it, and then
Stars didn't have anything going.
Mikko Rantanen,
third period.
Like he just
that guy was a demon after the first couple of games of the series. I think he had 10 points in his last 3 games. I think or last 2 games against his former team, and honestly, like. I think he got a lot of shit when he went to Carolina. He wasn't playing that well, but obviously situation's a little bit weird. You think you're going to be in Colorado your whole life. You get traded, and then the style of play didn't really fit, and you get traded again to Dallas, and it's like you just uproot your life twice. I mean, although I doubt he really did anything to stay in Carolina, like anything settled, but it's still a weird situation. You don't see guys get traded twice that soon in between that often, and I am really happy for him just coming into the series. I think there's a lot of eyes on him just because he was their big deadline acquisition. It's very rare we see a player of his caliber getting traded, let alone getting traded twice. And then he comes in against his former team, and he put this team on his back. And I mean, you could see the first goal, great shot. Second goal, you say what you want, lucky bounce, whatever. He takes that puck on his own.
Create luck for yourself.
Exactly said. Make your own luck, man. He takes the puck on his own. Wrap around off Gerard's skate into the back of the net, and I mean, honestly, it was incredible to watch. And the empty net is just a cherry on top. But I know he kind of just sets the puck in. But what I thought was really cool, everyone in the arena notices, and you see hats flying as he's at the hash marks. Didn't even shoot the puck yet, and you see the hats flying. And I thought that was a really cool visual. I think I was just really happy for the guy because he's been getting a lot of flack. And I mean, listen, rightfully so. He hasn't been good enough, especially for the prices you pay. And I think I was saying that during the second period to my brother because I thought Rantanen he had a crazy game last time we were talking about it. I was like, I know he's been getting a lot of shit, but I think if you wait for next season, and this is before our third period, I didn't know that he was going to go off. I was like, wait for next season, let him get an off season in a training camp, he'll be better. Yeah, and in the third period, he was incredible.
I think a lot of people underrate how difficult it is to go to 3 teams in one season. That's and especially with how you were saying, he's in Colorado thinking he's going to be there his entire life, and then just abruptly gets traded. That was, we talked about this when Rantanen got traded to the Stars, when everything kind of started leaking out, especially from the Canes side of it. There was no dialogue to him that he was going to get traded, no warning. It just happened abruptly. The Canes moved on that trade very swiftly because they didn't want to have to pay the crazy high price that the Stars kind of had to pay to get him, and it can affect a player. It's such an abrupt change, and I don't think Carolina would have ever been on his list, especially from how we saw him play there. And he goes to Dallas, is okay. He had 18 points in 20 games. It's not Mikko Rantanen production, but yeah, these playoffs, he's just absolutely. He was easily the most clutch player for them in the last 2-3 games, and
he's a career playoff performer. I think I saw his stat today.
He is. And I wrote an article when he was getting traded, and I was like, let Mitch walk and sign Rantanen. And one of the key points I had, laugh all you want, but one of the key points I had in it was look at this guy's playoff numbers. They're incredible. He has over 100 playoff points. He's played so many games, And a lot of people said, "Oh, he's with McKinnon. He's with McKinnon." I think
I
we're
was
seeing
gonna
now
say
it's not just the McKinnon
Yeah, he's doing
factor.
it on
Like
his
it's
own.
yeah,
just
no, I had started to see it, especially from this series, from the first half of it, a lot of dialogue about him, like,
being a
you
McKinnon
know,
version.
is he actually as good as we thought he was? And now he has more points than McKinnon in the playoffs. 12 points. McKinnon had 11. Absolute cinema.
And 8 of those points were in the last 2 games. Crazy. Yeah, well, that's
And I think. Oh,
that,
go ahead.
nah,
Jacob.
I was
Sorry,
just gonna
I
say that's a
didn't mean to cut you off.
crazy performance.
Yeah,
like
no.
that was just a really really fun third period to watch. And we're not even talking about the Wyatt Johnston goal on the power play, which was, and oh my
Yeah.
god, we should talk about what led to that power play, the Jack Drury penalty. I mean,
I can't believe they called that, man.
really,
I cannot believe they
see,
called that penalty.
I didn't really see what happened, so I'm thinking I am really surprised they called a penalty this late in the game, in a game 7, and then I see the replay, I see what he did. I mean, I don't know. That's one of those ones I think you call. Like that's one of those ones you hand to the ref,
I think the
man.
problem is for me is that we see so much stuff happening in front of the net in the playoffs, like just like people hacking each
Yeah.
other, cross-checking each other, and they let it go for the most part. And listen, I'm all for it, especially in front of the net. Like it doesn't affect the play. Like you're not. It is what it is. Like you go to the hard areas, and I personally don't think that's a penalty in Game 7
No,
with
that's
like
fair.
2 minutes left in the game. I think as much as some people complain about the reffing in the playoffs, I think for the most part I'd rather it be 5-on-5 the whole time, because I think you see for the most part the better team come out on top. Like I think if you put 2 teams on the ice at 5-on-5, most of the time the better team will win that game. And these 2 teams were so close
Evenly
with each other. I think
matched.
evenly matched. And I wish they didn't call it, because I think I know you can't really do that, but again, in the playoffs, we're so lenient with everything, and I think I was just personally so I told my brother right before the third period, so I'm like, they're not gonna call anything now. Like this is like you're gonna have to commit murder to be able to get a call for a penalty. And right away, 2 minutes into the period, McKinnon scores on a delayed penalty. And I said it. And then as I said that to my brother, I look up, or the camera pans over to the blue line, and the ref is standing there, and his hand is up. I'm like, oh my God, already? And I think they called 3 or 4 in the third period, and I was just really surprised.
I just want to throw it out there. Over 70% of McKinnon's points this playoff, or sorry, not over. About 70% of McKinnon's points this playoffs were on the power play.
Yeah.
He had 4 even strength
sucks.
points in the series. He had 4 even strength points in the series. Rantanen had 6.
And I will say, with that his goal last night, I think Ottinger had a pretty solid game overall. But that goal is really soft. Like you need to make that save. He doesn't seal his post properly, and he doesn't even It wasn't like the Stolars where you don't seal your post properly and just bant off your head. He just put it McKinnon just put it through him when he's in his reverse VH on the post. I thought it was a terrible goal, and at the time I'm like, that's awful. Like, that's backbreaking. Like you're now down 2-0 at the start of the third period. The Stars didn't seem to have anything going really, and I mean they turned on the Jets with I think like 10 minutes left, or maybe it was a little bit earlier than that. But yeah, it was an incredible game. I think you see a Dallas is, I think Dallas. The reason I didn't pick them is because of Robertson and Heiston not playing in round 1.
No, that was just
and
for me.
Now they're gonna get like DeBoer said they're coming back for the second round, and he doesn't know if they're gonna be ready for game 1. But I don't think it matters all that much. I think the Stars are gonna be able to handle whoever comes out of that St. Louis Winnipeg series pretty easily. Like,
I mean,
yeah, like
we will.
I don't see that series going
Yeah,
long.
I mean, we'll get
Well,
to.
I shouldn't say that. It might go long, but I see them coming out on top regardless.
Yeah,
Dude, they have the deepest offense in the NHL. It's not even close. Like I was watching them in game 6. I was watching them with their empty net like at the end of the game with their empty net situation, and they have like Johnston, they had like Johnston, Hintz, Rantanen, and
Duchesne.
Harley out there. And then
Just
I'm
every line
like,
is
you know, if
terrifying.
yeah, and then those guys go off the ice, and the next line is like Ben, Sagan, Duchesne. I'm like, are you kidding me, man? Like, this is
Not fair.
disgusting. They
Like,
have the deepest offense in the NHL.
It's going to be I mean, we'll see who wins Game 7 tonight. But I mean, if it ends up being Winnipeg, Hellebuck is gonna have to lock the fuck in.
Dude, he's been awful. He's been
terrible.
awful,
I don't know if
awful.
we're
He's gotten pulled twice, no?
Which is yeah, 3 times.
3 times. Yeah, he got pulled in Game 6. Winnipeg is very fortunate that they have home ice advantage, and Game 7 is going to be in Winnipeg tonight.
In Winnipeg, yeah, it's a tough barn to play in.
Yeah, and yeah, I like the Stars. There's a reason I chose them to win the cup this year. I think they, honestly, as things stand right now, they're the best team remaining in the West. I won't go too far down into predicting the rest of the series with this, but
yeah, save it because I think we'll do predictions for the second round of our next pod. Yeah, well,
no, I don't, because I picked the Kings, man.
I was, and then he said he was right after 2 games of the series.
Hey, if series were 1 and 2 games, the Leafs would have stay on the cup by now.
The Leafs would be cup champs. Well, actually, that's not true. We still in Game 1 usually.
It was Game 1 or 2. Take your pick.
Yeah. Anyways, I think another thing on Dallas is I was really concerned about that right side of their blue line.
CC's okay though.
And dude, they got some big performances. I know Lyubushkin was pretty solid early in the series. I know he might have had a rough one last game, I believe it was, but pretty solid. They're getting performances out of these guys that I didn't really believe in all that much. I think we know Lyubushkin. He's been here in Toronto twice, and like he's just a kind of like a physical defenseman. Doesn't really do too much with the puck, but yeah, but
can't really do anything with the puck is an understatement.
Yeah. It's kind of like a live grenade on the stick every single time it's there. But it's just they're getting performances out of guys I didn't really believe in, and now they get even scarier with Robertson and Heiskanen coming back. Obviously, I think Heiskanen is probably the most important player for them on that
100%.
team. And if he's healthy for. Even if they drop Game 1, give him the extra rest, let him come back fully healthy, and I think you win that series regardless. Series. Yeah, like they're gonna they'll have home ice if they go up against St. Louis. They won't have home ice if they go up against Winnipeg. But either way, I think as hockey fans too, another thing is that if they go up against Winnipeg, we're getting blessed to some really great atmospheres because Dallas in the playoffs is really loud.
Oh man,
it's
a
little bit sleep. Yeah, it's a little bit sleepy during the regular season, and I think that's just mostly. I think you see that in a lot of American markets, aside from like the hardcore ones.
Especially
but it's like you don't. Yeah, Southern American markets especially, you're right. But when the playoffs come around, they get behind those teams, and it is loud, especially in Dallas. So,
sure.
I mean, I'm kind of hoping Winnipeg wins. Just I like Winnipeg better than St. Louis, to be honest with you, like just as like a market. So I do hope they win.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I have a really bad feeling for Winnipeg going into this game. It's just confirmed now that Scheifele's out. And
oh no! I thought he was a game time decision.
Yeah, no, they just Frank Saravalli just confirmed that he's out for Game 7. Looking at this lineup, man, they are. It's shallow right now.
Read it.
Vlad Nemestikov is your first line center.
You're kidding.
Centering Kyle Connor and Gabe Velarde. Kyle Connor is gonna have to absolutely take over this next game.
Yeah.
Nick Ehlers is back for them. I don't know when that happened, but he's back.
Last game. He played last game.
Adam Lowry's their second line center with Cole Perfetti on the other wing. Like it's they're gonna
the funny thing about Winnipeg.
They're gonna need some magic here going into Game 7.
The funny thing about Winnipeg is that as much as Hellebuck has been bad, we all know what he's capable of. So if he shows up for, and we've seen him show up already. Like Game 2, he was fantastic. Yeah. If he shows up, then it's over for St. Louis because you can't beat that guy when he's dialed in.
When they made the conference finals in 2018, he was amazing, and
he was lights out.
End of the day, like this guy's probably going to be top 2 in Hart voting, if not the Hart winner.
He's my Hart pick. We'll talk about that later, but he's my Hart pick, dude.
Hasn't been good enough these playoffs. 8-15 on the season.
Never is
on the playoffs, but 8-15 save percentage on
15?
the playoffs. 8-15, 8-1-5.
Holy moly!
I think last game probably has a lot. I think last game has a lot to do with it. I'll get back to you on like what his goals saved above expected is right now, but yeah, it's quite concerning, I'd say, from him. But he's bottom of the playoffs right now with a minus 9.7 goal saved the perfect
Yeah.
spot.
I mean, we knew this was going to be a good
I don't wanna go-
series. Yeah,
I kind of want to get back on track with the Stars as I don't want to talk too much about Winnipeg because I think we'll have a more of a in-depth breakdown later.
We might have
after
a guest for that
tonight.
too.
We might have.
Do
a
we have
guest,
anything
yeah.
else on
Not might. We
on
probably
Stars
will.
and Avs?
On the Stars Avs. I don't really think so. I think Wyatt John just pretty big for Wyatt Johnson. I don't think he's been that fantastic this series. I could be wrong. I didn't notice him a lot in the on the score sheet. I think maybe he's just been overshadowed by. Yeah, okay, maybe he's just overshadowed by Rantanen and some of the other guys that were having big moments. But happy for Wyatt Johnson. And if you're Colorado, you haven't been out of the second. I think you've been out of the second round once with this core. And I think every year we looked at them, we're like perennial cup contender. Like you have McKinnon, Makar, like you're there. But if you looked at their playoff like resume, it's not been that great. And I wonder. Oh my God, you're right. Sorry, I just saw the outline. I wonder if Bednar is like potentially fired. Like, dude, he has like it's kind of. I wonder if there's a conversation there. Like, I don't know.
I think winning a cup does something for your reputation. Like you said, they've
It
made
does,
it
for
out.
sure,
They've made.
but-
I think they made the third round once as well.
Yeah. Or
but-
oh,
They made the conference finals
Who are we
once in
talking about? Sorry.
1920.
Colorado.
Yeah.
Colorado. They made the conference finals once in 2020 as well, or 2019, 2020. But they're, you could start a dialogue on that, honestly. But I don't think he gets fired for a while, to be honest. I think that cup win extends your kind of.
You're probably right.
For a while.
You're probably right. I saw people saying, "Oh, McFarland next," and like fired. Maybe McFarland gets fired. I'm like, I don't know. I thought he did some pretty good work.
Yeah,
like
they-
during
yeah,
the
he
season.
did a good
Dude,
season.
that
I don't
turnaround-
know. It's tough for me to want a guy fired when you praise him so much when the moves are made, and going into the playoffs you praise it, and sometimes it just doesn't really work out. And
sometimes you
I don't know.
meet the
I think
literal
there's-
worst possible
team in the
option in
NHL.
the
Yeah,
first
like-
round. Like that
Yeah.
happens. It sucks.
I think they're set up really good for next season. If they
Yeah.
can keep around,
for sure.
I think
Is
if they
Brock
can keep-
Nelson a UFA? Or
yeah,
does he have
he's a
another
UFA.
year?
If they can keep Brock
UFA.
Nelson, that's huge for them. But even then, like I think Charlie Coyle's still under contract.
He
for a little
is.
bit.
He's made it's kind of expensive, but I mean he's still there.
He's a great 3C, and he fit like perfectly with them in the regular season. Their goaltending's set up for the next year as well. Mackenzie Blackwood was great for them. He's pretty good in this series too. But yeah, I don't know. I think just go at it again next year, see what happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just get unlucky, man. And I think with a team like this who's won a cup, you can give them that kind of excuse. If this was like, not to make it about the Leafs, but if this was like the Leafs, it's like we don't care. Like you've, been out.
Yeah, I just think
8 years, but
I just kind of think it's tough when you have a McKinnon and McCart like duo where you have arguably the second and third best players in the NHL, and it's just kind of like it's their McCart's a generational talent. You know?
you don't
and
want to
it's
piss
it's
that
tough
away.
when you have a defensive. Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I just saw a FaceTime call, so
You're chilling. No, you don't want to piss that away. Like I get what you're saying. Like they're only getting older. McKinnon's turning 30 this year. Like you don't want to piss away these years, and that Cale Makar extension is going to kick in at some point. Like they're going to have to sign him to an extension, and
You probably want to get it done while Landeskog is still a good player too, because I mean after that injury and that recovery, who knows how much longer he.
we didn't
really
even
has
talk
in the
about
league.
him too. He was amazing these playoffs too. He was
Landeskog,
awesome
yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and he was obviously a Masterton finalist too, rightfully so. I mean, we're doing awards later, so I don't think we're gonna touch. We'll touch on the Masterton, just like kind of praising the guys who got awarded. But I think me
We'll
and
get to it.
We were having-
Jacob and Seb were kind of like, we were kind of like just joking around. I didn't want to like do like our picks because it's just kind of like I don't know. I don't like saying which guy had a more tragic year in his personal
Who
life leading
struggled
up, to
the most.
leading up to the season. Yeah. I just think it's a round of applause for everyone who even got nominated. I think all their stories are pretty incredible, and there's even guys who had some pretty incredible stories just to bounce back, and they didn't get nominated. But it's just still, I like one of the guys we'll talk about later is Dakota Joshua. I mean, he didn't get nominated, but I mean, pretty fantastic what he
Who
was able
was
to
nominated on
accomplish. But
Vancouver over him?
no one was, dude. Oh,
What?
you're right. All 32. I was talking about
Yeah.
the top
Oh,
three.
I didn't even know
Oh,
there were
okay, sorry,
top
sorry. I thought you
finalists.
meant
Yeah.
like he just didn't get nominated from Vancouver. I was like, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I
I
like
guess cancer isn't a good enough reason to get you an NHL award. This is why it's a weird award to talk about.
it is a little bit. It's a little bit weird, but I mean, we'll talk about that. We'll touch on it later. But I think we can move on from the playoffs now. I don't think there's too much more we could really talk about the Stars last series with.
Yeah.
I want to move. You know what? I'm gonna pivot here. There was a big signing in the NHL yesterday, and I somehow skipped over it when I was making the outline.
No, I just remembered it when we were talking about Wyatt Johnston.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Coronado signs a big 7-year extension, I believe.
Yes,
Yep.
7 years.
Yeah,
7 years,
6.5
$6.5
mil per. I think it's a pretty good bit of business for the Flames. I think you kind of take the risk locking up a guy before he really takes that huge jump, and he was still a really good. He was still a good producer for this Flames team who
Yeah.
had a trouble scoring. I think he had 24
Spat
goals
off
last season.
24 goals, 23
24,
assists
yeah,
in
24 goals, almost
77
50
games.
points.
Yeah, like he's a good young talent. They drafted him pretty high, and locking these guys up. I think we see it in the cap world all the time now. I think Montreal's doing a pretty good job of it. The Leafs have done a terrible job at it, but locking up your young talent that you believe in before they take that
Yeah.
jump, because I think then you have to pay your premium prices on these guys, and we've talked about this all the time. Like, we always talk about this, but sometimes you have to take a risk, and with the cap going up, 6.5 mil is still a good amount of money, but
Sure.
like regardless, I think I believe in Coronado. I think the Flames do too. I think we're going to see this guy take some steps. He's going to be an important piece of the future for this team.
Yeah.
So
I think,
I was pretty happy for the Flames.
yeah,
there.
I think this contract's going to age well, but I couldn't help that when I saw when I first saw it being reported, I couldn't help but think instantly of Colin White in Ottawa, who signed a similar contract. I don't know if you guys remember
Josh
this.
Norris.
I'm not thinking of Josh Norris. I'm thinking of Colin White.
Colin White's deal wasn't that big though.
It was.
No.
I mean, relative to what the cap was back then, I think it was like 4.5 million over 6 years, and
Was it that long though?
I'm pretty sure they bought it out.
I thought it.
Why am I the only person
Damn,
who
I'm
remembers
gonna
this?
fuck Peter right now.
He had
No,
40
I
points
was-
in 70 games in 18-19, Colin White, and then he just never was
Yeah.
good again, and the Senators bought him out after 3 years of that deal.
No, I was gonna say though. I think
He's
these
making 4.75 in Ottawa.
Do you have the term?
how long though?
Well, I'm trying to find the exact contract details. I'm having a tough time like for term because he was bought out, so it cuts it off.
Oh,
This is where I kind of miss
Cap friendly.
cap friendly because they were so good with this.
Yeah.
Oh, 6 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, 6-year
thought so.
deal.
Wow. Okay. Never mind. Damn. I
4.75.
don't know why I
What a
only.
pull,
yeah.
Jacob.
I
I don't know why I thought it was only like a 3-year.
Yeah, no,
deal.
I
Yeah.
don't think Matt Coronado's Colin White. I think he's a lot better. I think he has a much higher upside.
He's very
He's a
talented,
very
man.
talented player.
Yeah. So good deal for the Flames. I think we all
Yeah.
agree. So do you have a different opinion on it?
No, I think it'll be good. Normally with these kinds of deals, they work out typically. The only one I can really think of that's kind of not lived up to expectations in recent years is Josh Norris, and then Colin White. Jacob just brought up, but
And that was
Josh.
that was honestly more injury related than anything.
Yeah.
Norris was pretty solid when he's on the ice.
But normally with guys like this, it's like when they have that kind of talent, injuries is what's going to be their catalyst. And
Yeah.
yeah, with Josh Norris, I mean, he signed that contract when he scored 35 goals in 66 games, and it looked like a good deal at the time. It was pretty much an 8x8, and it's
Yeah.
not as great anymore. But in
Yeah.
those situations, that's really only
I wish we could still dunk
time-
on Ottawa for that, but they somehow got Dylan Cousins out of it. So
yeah they got
I
that.
know we could dunk on Buffalo about
Yeah.
it now.
Yeah,
Better.
but no, I
I mean, we've done enough of dunking on Ottawa recently, anyways. So,
I don't
mean,
think
we
so.
can
I
let them be.
disagree. No, but he yeah, it's only
4.0.
6.18% of the cap right now.
Yeah.
That's 6.5, like with cap in the next coming years. It's like a $4 or $5 million contract. That's a good deal, even if he's not like a, I
If he's a
think
30 goal scorer, I think it's fine. Like I
if
like
that's
I
a
think
30
that's,
goal scorer. I think that's great.
yeah.
6.5
Yeah.
million.
Well,
in
he's
future
like
years.
he's right there. Six
Yeah,
six goals away from 30, and he was on one of the worst offensive teams in the league
yeah,
this year.
pretty
So
much,
I mean,
pretty much as a rookie, like their leading scorer
Yeah.
was Jonathan Huberdeau with like 50 points. So I think
Yeah.
if
man,
either,
that contract, man. Oh my god.
speaking of bad contracts, but no, if they find somebody
Yeah,
that can like
that's not
actually,
great.
if they find somebody that is a proper, sorry, Jonathan Huberdeau had 62 points, my bad, and that's a
Still
considered
bad.
a bounce back year.
Another
But no,
fidget
if they
spinner
can find
cameo.
somebody, if they could, oh yeah, fidget spinner's back. No, if they can find somebody, that can actually, they definitely need some more play drivers on that team. If they can get somebody who can kind of set up plays better, I think that's a
Mitch
great
Marner?
deal.
It had to be said.
No.
Anyways.
It's a great place to end the podcast, guys. Have a great night. Hope you liked the episode.
All right, we're gonna move on to head coaching now. I don't think there's much more to say on the Flames or Coronado.
No.
Just a lot of openings. I don't think we have a whole lot of news for interviews outside of Anaheim.
Yeah. No.
At least I haven't seen a lot with Seattle, Philly, Chicago, Boston, and Pittsburgh. But Anaheim, the news there out of Anaheim is Joel Quenneville. That's the second interview, and Woodcroft was also interviewed.
Yeah.
We have already discussed the whole
Yeah.
Quenneville situation on I think 2 pods ago. So if you want to see what we have to say about that, you could go there. I mean, just what we said. We are like all the Chicago stuff. We basically what we said was the Chicago stuff is going to follow him everywhere, rightfully so. And also,
As it should.
just from a hockey perspective, he has not been coaching for 4 years, so I really don't get it. And the fit doesn't work. So we all three of us agreed it would be a stupid idea to hire him if they
Dumb.
do.
Just dumb.
Yeah, and the second interview, and I heard he's also a pretty, he's a serious candidate there. So we'll see. I think Friedman said that. I would just be, if I was a Ducks fan, I'd be really disappointed if they hired him from both what happened in Chicago as well as the
just-
hockey side of it. So I just, I
Yeah,
don't-
like
yeah.
I think this. I kind of said this last pod too, so I won't spend too much time. But like, it just doesn't make sense. You go from a coach who is like notoriously hated by all your players.
Yeah,
like,
everyone hated him.
nobody liked Greg Cronin.
yeah, Greg
And
Cronin
you're gonna
was, yeah.
and you're gonna go to a guy who has this like notorious controversy just following him anywhere he goes. Like,
and he's also a hard ass too. Like he's not a player's
like
coach,
this
man.
just makes no sense. I think a guy like Woodcroft would be better, and I was looking for
Right.
it because
I was just about to say that.
I was looking for it because I know there were a couple other names that they were like reportedly interviewing there too. David Carlisle is one of them. He's a NCAA coach. I can't remember what program he's a part of, but he's been really successful.
I think it was
there.
Denver. I think it's Denver. If I'm
he's
not
been
wrong.
he's been really successful there, and he's popping up in a lot of head coaching discussions right now. Seattle being another one of them, which I think we'll get to.
Is he
after
from?
as
Is
well.
he the Denver coach? I think
Denver?
He is, right?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
He's Denver.
Yeah,
he won the
okay.
championship last year, lost in the finals this year. He's been really
Great
successful
coach,
there.
and he pulled his name out of the Chicago search too. And
Yes.
I was going to get to that with Chicago.
That's kind of crazy.
But yeah, well, no, but dude, listen, he has been in. I remember, I think this is 3 seasons now. He's been in these coaching discussions, and Friedman brings him up every time. But when Jeff Merrick was on 32 Thoughts, he raved about him, and I think for him, it's smart. Like you have a whole program for you.
Yeah.
You control that whole program. You make a lot of money. Like the NCAA, it's going to get a lot bigger now, especially with the NIL, and now you're also bringing players over from the CHL that can now play in the NCAA. It's going to get a lot bigger.
Yeah.
So honestly, why would you change your life up if you don't like the situation?
You can
Like
be picky.
everyone is going to be after this guy. Yeah, like you can afford to be picky here. Like it doesn't matter how long you wait. Teams aren't going to sour on you. Like as a lead, the lead itself won't sour on you if you just pull your name out of the Chicago thing, right? So Anaheim, if we said enough, I think Woodcroft would be a great decision there.
Yeah.
I thought he was a pretty good coach in Edmonton,
think
aside from the
perfect.
stupid decision he made with the defense.
Yeah, you just need
Perfect
someone
move for
to
them, I
system.
think.
kind
That
of.
would be.
Sorry, Seb. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. Sorry, I didn't have anything to say.
No, I was just gonna say, just pretty much what you guys said. Just get someone who the players actually like you said, a players coach.
Yeah.
Hear that remote.
It's a young team,
It's
man.
a young team. You got like, I don't know. Like I don't think a hard ass is what that team needs. You got
You need a
Radko
Sheldon
Gudas.
Keefe.
I will say, hard asses for young teams are sometimes good. I think, regardless of what happened with Babcock here and what happened in the locker room, obviously not great. I'm not talking about that. Like, obviously, we don't think that was great. But I think what Babcock did to Marner and Matthews specifically is he instilled like knowing the defensive side of the game is very important, and I think we're seeing that pay off now in dividends where Matthews and Marner are both like Selke level defensive forwards. So there is pros to having a hard ass coach, but I just think they've
ass, you know.
Yeah,
Right,
and like
right,
Greg
yeah.
Cronin was just both.
Yeah.
just bad. Yeah, and also I think they've had a hard ass coach a lot, so I think you need a change. I think we saw it with going from Babcock to going to Keefe. I think Babcock, obviously, we all know what happened in the locker room. No, we don't need to go over it again. It's been gone over so many times. We're just wasting breath going over it again. But you make that change, and then obviously we didn't get the results. But you see with other teams that they do get the results, and sometimes it goes also from a player-friendly coach into the hard ass, and then sometimes you win with that tough coach. But they just need a switch in the locker room, different vibes. I think they were a fun team this year, regardless of how much they hated Cronin. And I think getting a coach in there that they'll like will do even better for this team.
You know what, the goaltending really saved them this year. It like brought them up to.
Great.
I think goaltending brought them up to like a respectable level.
Yeah.
They'll probably.
They also scored a decent amount too, though.
I
If I'm
was
not
gonna
wrong,
say,
I
like,
thought
they had.
It was about the same as
Yeah.
last year, to be honest. They didn't do much scoring.
They had more contributors this year, like Cutter Gautier's rookie season.
That's true. No,
they've got all the pieces there.
they were a fun team this year, man. They were fun.
Yeah.
Like I liked watching them.
they've got an awesome future ahead of them.
Yeah.
They've got some really good pieces. I know a lot of Ducks fans or just people in general complain that Greg Cronin,
Greg Cronin
just really buried Cutter Gauthier
McTavish.
for like
Oh yeah,
no
McTavish
reason.
too.
McTavish too. He buried McTavish
Yeah.
and buried Cutter Gauthier for
Yeah.
like no reason. And people were talking like if they paired Cutter Gauthier and Leo Carlson for the entire season, they would have been like probably up
Dude,
20, 30
I think
points
Cronin
individually.
I think Cronin had some really weird quotes on McTavish, and it was he's a third line center. Like he can't score enough to be in my top six, and he's not that great defensively. So there was like those types of quotes, and it's tough. Like McTavish is still young. Like, listen, he's not a rookie anymore, but he is still young. And burying a guy like that, especially on a team that's not good, like that's the stuff with Cronin that I just found really confusing. And I know later he said he was. Oh, this was on Zedras actually. Later he said that he was happy with Zedras' progression. But he buried him too. Like he just buried every young player, and it was just.
You guys want to?
It was really
you
weird.
guys want a fun little stat here about the Anaheim
Yeah.
Ducks? Here's their last 4 head coaches: Greg Cronin, Dallas Eakins, Bob Murray, Randy Carlyle. It's time for
Jeez,
a
dude.
change. Oh,
Leaf legend Randy
hold on,
Carlyle.
it goes back farther. Bruce Boudreau, Randy Carlyle again,
Bruce.
Mike Babcock. Yeah.
Yeah.
So their last good coach was Bruce Boudreau.
Yeah. Maybe they need Boudreau again.
And Boudreau didn't even do anything in the playoffs. He's just a nice guy that everybody loves. Like,
Yeah.
That's what they need.
yeah, no, okay, so I think we can move on from Anaheim. I don't think there's really much more to say. The other coaching positions is Pittsburgh. Obviously, we talked about Sullivan last pod. I don't really think we need to go over that. There hasn't really been any names out there. I don't think.
They that's like a fresh fire, so they haven't brought up any names.
We'll have to wait
Yeah.
a bit.
I think
Boston, I don't think anyone's. Yeah, what were you gonna say? Were you gonna be on Pittsburgh?
No, I
or-
was just gonna say with a lot of these teams, the only ones I've really seen names pop up
Yeah.
for in these head coaching searches is like Seattle.
Anaheim and Philly.
Yeah, and-
I didn't see anything for Seattle, but Philly. We're gonna get to Philly later
Yeah.
because they kind of coincide with Vancouver, and we want to talk about spend a lot of time on Vancouver because there's a lot going on
All
there.
I've seen on
Yeah.
But,
Boston is that Joe Sacco is also
Tort-
being considered for
Sacco,
the role.
yeah.
You know, like
Torts maybe. Like I saw a lot of people, and I think that's a lot more just fans kind of linking them to Boston.
That
than
was me.
actual
That was
reports
my
that
Stephen
did
did it on the show when you.
That
when
was
you
my
weren't there.
prediction.
You guys did, and I think a lot of people. I think just more people are talking about it now too online. That I see it pop up a lot.
He might end up in New York again too, like as an assistant.
I saw front office. I saw
front
role,
office
though.
too.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't think this coach to front office move works very well. Seeing
It just
what,
depends what he's doing. I mean,
seeing
you
what
look at Barry
happened.
Trotz. Don't make him GM, but I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I Chicago we touched on briefly. The only thing I saw was Carla, or I think it's Carl. I think that's how you say his last
I don't
name.
know, Carl.
And he pulled his name out of the race, and Philly, a lot of people are linking them to Tocchet because Tocchet
Right.
decided to resign from his job in Vancouver after Vancouver declined the option on his deal. And we're gonna get to Vancouver, but I think that was one of the biggest names in Philly. Obviously, he was a Flyer legend when he played.
He'll
Really
end-
good player for them.
Yeah, he'll end
So
up
I wouldn't be surprised.
he'll
Yeah.
he'll end up on one of those teams for sure. But Philly would definitely
Yeah.
make the most. I think it works out too. Like
If he wants to coach,
roster-wise.
I think I saw something that he might want a TV job, but if he wants to
Really?
coach again, Philly will be all over that.
I mean,
Like,
I think he's the best free agent coach right now, just based off of what he was able to do. Well,
did
in
Vancouver.
the problem is I don't know. Do you want Tocchet there with Mitch Top? Like I don't know. I think I saw a lot of people complaining about how he handles young players, and he's not like the greatest at that. And he's more of just like if you have an older team that needs to make the playoffs or needs to perform, like he'll do that.
You know what though?
But I don't know.
Sorry,
yeah,
you go. Sorry.
No. I had nothing else.
Oh,
Really.
okay. I was gonna say the Vancouver job kind of saved his coaching career. Like before Vancouver, he was kind of looked at as a mid coach. He was
He
not
was in Arizona
like
at one point, wasn't he?
he made the playoffs once in his head coaching
Didn't he get into
jobs.
some like legal trouble in Arizona with like the gambling with?
I think so too.
Gretzky?
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
ended up
He had that
making
gambling drain.
he ended up going to TV for a while. Like that's where he was until Vancouver plucked him out. And I still remember when they hired him, it was kind of like, okay,
Weird
like this
hire.
isn't
Yeah.
an ideal hire. Like they went from Bruce Boudreau, who was pretty well
Everyone
loved in
loved, too.
Vancouver, and then
And I think it was pretty consensus that it wasn't his fault what was going on.
Yeah.
A lot of it was a lot of just the players not performing properly.
yeah, like I mean, looking at his career, that Vancouver job really saved his career. That last year with Vancouver was the second time he's ever made the playoffs as a head coach. Like,
Yeah.
um,
It was a good run too. Like they had a really good season last year.
Yeah.
Obviously, you run to Edmonton, who's just I don't think it was really hard to stop them.
Yeah.
Last year they were playing pretty well.
also completely unrelated, and I don't know.
But by the way, sorry, it said they
No,
pushed
you're-
them to Game 7. Like they were a game away
Yeah,
from
yeah.
beating Edmonton. A lot of people forget that.
Yeah.
Completely unrelated, and I don't know why I just thought of his name, but you guys remember Dave Tippett?
Yeah.
I don't know why I just thought of that, but yeah, Dave Tippett, that's a name.
That's it. Just the
Yeah,
JC.
That's a
Vancouver
throwback.
fans hated him. A Leaf connection that could take that Vancouver job is Manny Malhotra. I think he's doing pretty well with Abbotsford in the AHL, and they're very familiar with him. He obviously played for the Canucks.
He was their
coached in the
assistant coach
AHL.
there for a while too. He was
He's,
their
he was an
PK
assistant
coach.
there. I think I heard a lot of people. I heard some people talking about he'll probably get a look. Like he'll probably come in for a few interviews. But we'll see how that goes. I do want to pivot to Vancouver if that's all right with you guys. Do you have anything else to say on any of the jobs? Oh, so what did you say about Seattle? Who were they interviewing? I missed those.
I don't know about interview, but I just remember seeing David Carl's name around them a little bit.
Right.
But
I do have one
besides
more
that, yeah,
thing.
there hasn't really been any names I've seen. Maybe Jeff,
Yeah, I think
I know some people are like Jessica Campbell maybe could get promoted, but I don't really see it happening. But
it'd be a cool story. But I think
their
for
power play kind of
Seattle-
struggled, and from what I know, she
Yeah.
was their like offensive and power play coordinator, and it wasn't
Yeah.
too great this year. So you could shake that down to like personnel. Like obviously Seattle doesn't have really the offensive weapons other teams do, but I don't know.
Yeah, but they should be. I still think they should have been better. Like I think they have
be,
some
yeah,
talent
I know,
there.
they-
Yeah, like it would be a cool story because she would be the first female coach and head coach in the NHL. But I don't know. I doubt they go in that direction. And it's not anything really against her. I just think you probably want a little bit more of an established coach. Like they really need.
They need something.
They need
yeah.
something there because they've been so mid. Like they're not even like bad. They're just like not good enough to do. They're like in between the lottery area and the playoffs, and it's
They're
just
probably gonna hire.
you need something to
Don
change
Granato
there.
or
Dude,
something,
looking-
Man.
Don Granato wouldn't be bad. Sorry, just looking at
I'm
their.
sorry.
Just,
Don Granato wouldn't be bad.
I don't know. He was okay with Buffalo when he started there.
I
Like,
guess so. Maybe they'll
got
go with
some
He's
out
not
of it.
wrong. A lot of Sabres
What-
fans don't mind
hey,
him, man.
you know what? The closest they got to making the playoffs in the past 14
Was
years was
with
under
Granato.
him.
Yeah, you know
was
what? You're
under
right.
him.
Yeah.
That was the closest they got. Also, I'm looking at league power play percentages because I just mentioned Jessica Campbell with them. Seattle was an 18.9 this year. That was 23rd best in the league. Guess who the worst was?
Nashville.
Nope.
Mm,
They're actually
Buffalo?
not even close. Nope.
Is it a playoff team?
They were 24th. No.
How was it a like dead last place team?
Philly?
Not Philly. We were just talking about them.
Boston?
Nope. Anaheim. 11.8%.
Which doesn't make sense
Bad.
because you have so much talent on that team. It's really weird.
11.8%. 8
Almost
on
like
the
they're
power
coaching
play.
bad or something. Yeah, I think the only thing I have left to say about coaches is I really dread the day that Mark Savard gets a head coaching job in the NHL because I love him in Toronto.
So much passion,
It's
dude.
gonna
So
happen.
much
Dude, I was
passion.
calling for him to be fired mid-season because I'm like, this power play is the worst I've ever seen in my life. This is ridiculous.
Nah, I mean, I've never thought that firing him was the right move.
Well, listen, they were never going to do it because you don't fire assistant coaches mid-season. It
No,
just
no,
doesn't
but I mean,
happen.
it's
was
just
like, dude, you
stupid
need
when it's
something.
like it's been the same problem year after year. It's like, is it the
Yeah.
coach or is it the player?
Yeah,
probably the
they've
players
gone
more than
they've gone
anything,
through like 5 different power play
Yeah.
coaches.
Yeah.
Who was that guy that they
Um,
hired from the Florida? Paul McFarland. I think Paul McFarland. You
McLean?
remember
No,
that guy?
he wasn't
too?
from Florida. He was from Ottawa. Was
No,
he
no,
was
no,
the
no.
head coach in Ottawa?
He was Florida's power play coach, and they had like the second best power play in the league. And then he came to Toronto. Power
you're
play
right.
was
Never mind.
shit.
Yeah.
And then he
The only guy who
What
ever
was in
got that power
Seattle,
play going was
actually?
Carberry, was it? Carberry, and
Carberry.
we'll talk about Carberry later.
Carberry was the only one.
Was the power play coach for the year that we beat Tampa, and that power play was fantastic
Yep,
in the playoffs.
he-
So they came up big a lot.
and now he's probably gonna win the Jack Adams.
My pick. We'll talk about it later,
DJ
but
Smith.
moving. Dude, God, moving on from the rest, I think we want to talk about Vancouver now. It's just a disaster there. We've talked about the head coaching situation there already, so I don't think we really need to get too much in. Listen, it's a big part of this because I think he had tight connections with Quinn Hughes, and Quinn Hughes is probably the center of all the talking points right now in Vancouver. But obviously, it starts off. Dude, this has started since before the season, or like during the season, and it started off with the Pettersson and Miller controversy. No one really knows what happens there. I think a lot of people. I think the speculation is that Miller was just kind of tough on him.
Yeah, just a dick.
And I did, but you know what?
Sometimes you need that too,
I remember him. Yeah, no, but like Elliot Friedman, I said I think it's a little bit of both. Like I think maybe Miller could like ease up a little bit, but Pettersson needs to be a little bit more thick-skinned than anything. And honestly, and I mean, I'd believe that. Like I don't know, it's never just one person's problem. Like when you have these type of things going on, because if it was just one person, the second Miller was gone, Pettersson would have been fantastic, and it didn't turn out that way. And I think it's a little bit of both. And so it starts with that. They don't play well. They trade Miller. They have a really weird deadline where they trade for Marcus Pettersson, and that like it was a good move. Like if you're buying and if you're in a position to,
They extended him. Though.
they were kind of bit. They did. That's true. But the thing, I mean, I'll get to the direction of the franchise in a little bit here. And I want to come back to that because that's a very valid point. But, anyways, they're in the playoff run a little bit, but they're very mid. Like they kind of go on hot streaks and they get cold again. It's like every time they have that chance to like jump in and grab it from Calgary or jump in and grab it from Minnesota, or St. Louis, they just lost. They would go on a bad slide, and it was kind of a disaster of a year. And now we head into the offseason where they traded some guys away, and it's kind of like what's the direction of the franchise is. They had that. I think we already talked about it before, but Rutherford had that really weird. He has, and you know what? He's one of the most. As much as you can hate on it, I think we always ask for more transparency from guys in the NHL, like a little bit. And he is like almost a little too transparent. Like he'll just say whatever he's thinking.
That's not a good
just
way
keep it under wraps a
That's
little
not
bit.
a good way to represent your team. Like I feel like a better answer to.
No.
Have you talked to Quinn yet?
But even
no.
Alvin, like Alvin says at the deadline, if I traded Bester for what I got, you guys would have run me out of town.
What? Like what if you said I believe in this team?
Dude, sometimes
or Bester is a way better player than what I got offers for.
Yeah.
Dude. Instead, he says,
Some-
"You wouldn't believe the shit I got." Like that's what he says.
sometimes-
This guy's a disaster.
Sometimes the nothing burger answer is the best
It's the
one
best
you could
answer.
give
Yeah.
because it keeps the drama down.
You know
and,
what? Maybe
like,
they got to take a page out of the book of some politicians. Just kind of
dude.
lie.
I think the most telltale sign of the situation of this team right now is the fact that Rick Tocchet turned down $25 million in a total contract to just coach them. that is the most telltale, concerning sign of
Yeah.
this team is in a bad spot right
And
now.
I want to stay on this because the biggest thing we were talking about was Quinn Hughes, and I was trying to get to the interview that I want to start that press conference earlier in the season because it's just been a media nightmare for Vancouver. And then one of the recent one he had, he says he mentions how Quinn Hughes. Yeah, because Quinn Hughes had a great relationship with Tocchet, and earlier in the year he says, if this team if we don't figure it out, we have to figure out something to do with Hughes. And no one even pressed him on Quinn Hughes. I don't think no one really asked him about what's the situation with Quinn Hughes, and it's just if we don't figure this out, he's gonna have to leave, or we're gonna have to trade him. And
they said if we don't have an extension in place by the 2027 trade deadline, that's 2 years away. The 2027 trade deadline, we're gonna have to look
right.
at
But
it.
even before that, he mentioned that he wants to play with his brother, so we're kind of in a tough position unless we get Jack and Luke, which was crazy because that's like borderline tampering.
Open tampering.
Yeah,
just open.
And he's like, "Oh, we gotta be careful with tampering." I'm like, "Dude, you just said it. You just admitted to it."
Fuck.
So there's that, and now he's like Seb Jacob said it. He doesn't pick up the phone when he Rutherford calls him, and he's like, "I hope he's golfing," because he usually calls me right back. And then later that day, Hughes posts that he's at the Knicks playoff game against Detroit on his Instagram story, and everyone's like, "What?" Like, he saw the call, doesn't call you back, goes to a playoff game instead, and it's just like, that's really awkward,
Really
guys,
good.
because
The Knicks too.
same
by the
press
way.
conference, same press conference, same press conference that. Oh my God, that's true. I didn't even think about that.
They're
it's
New Jersey, are they not?
No, they're New York.
Are they
Madison
New
Square
York?
Garden. The
I
Nets are
thought the
in
Knicks
New
were-
Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But anyway, still a New York area. And then Jacob, like you're saying, if we don't have an extension done by 2027, we're gonna have to trade him. And it's like this team went from having a elite center in Pedersen, a couple of elite forwards actually. JT Miller, 100 point player. Pedersen. You have a Norris level defenseman, arguably the best defenseman in the National Hockey League, and Hughes. You have a Vezina caliber goalie who I thought was a top 5 goalie when he's healthy, and Thatcher Demko, and he just can't stay healthy, and it's been a disaster. And then you sign Langton into a long-term deal, so it's like, what's the deal there?
Crazy
Yep.
deal.
It's like, what's the deal there? Like, I think Demko is probably gone if after the season. Like, there's no chance you sign. Honestly, I could see it, but there's no chance that you sign Langton if you expect Demko to stick around, right? To that deal, at least. Like, maybe you do, but $5 million is a lot for a backup goalie.
Both of your goalies were signed to $5 million.
Yeah, you're spending $10 million on goaltending, and one of them isn't like. If you're spending $10 million on goaltending, I'm expecting Vazzy, Bob.
Like, one of them is making like $8
Shesterkin,
million.
yeah. Or $11 million, and he's the best goalie in the NHL, and could steal you. But it's not like that. I don't really believe in Langton all that much, to be honest with you. I think he had a great season, but we saw him kind of fall off near the end of the year, and I think that's kind of more what you could expect from him.
Well, we've never seen him be successful in a kind of starter role besides this year, and he's been in the league for a few years, and even this year, like,
he was all right in Chicago. Like he had a nice season in Chicago. I think one year, like, he was
and
all
then
right.
he was good as a backup in Nashville, but like then he goes and just randomly plays 50 games this year. Has a 902, like, he's okay, but is that warranting a $4.5 million extension for 5 years? I don't know.
Yeah.
It just felt kind of desperate because, like, I feel like they're in the situation where, like, maybe they were looking at the free agent outlook this year, and I was looking at it the other day.
Dude, that's another thing. He said that, dude. I'm sorry to cut you off, but Rutherford said free agents were usually not the top of their list a lot of the time. So that tells me
palm trees
that
here in
he's like
Vancouver.
No palm trees.
That's kind of. I think that's him kind of tampering expectations a little bit. Like, dude, don't expect us to do much this offseason because I don't think we're gonna see that. And the other thing, sticking to the free agent side of it, Brock Besser's gone. Like, he's gone, and that's another one of the big fours that they had. He was a great goal scorer, and now I want to get to the direction of the franchise. It's like, where are they going? Because Jacob, you mentioned how they extended Pedersen, Marcus Pedersen, that is, a defenseman out of Pittsburgh, and it's like, well, if you extend them, you expect them to be like competitive. You don't sign a defenseman to a long-term deal with a decent AAV to just be mid, right? Like, I don't see where they
honestly,
go with that.
it's
Maybe
too bad
teams-
that Rutherford and what's his nuts there, Alvin are they're
Alvin,
still
yeah.
pretty new there, so they're probably not going to get fired anytime soon. I mean, you saw how long they stuck to Jim Benning there, so I don't know what they. I don't know what the direction is here.
Dude, being a GM in the Canadian hockey market is the most secure job you can have in your life because there is so much leeway with those jobs.
It's true.
Dude, maybe you would be a more attractive free agent market if your team wasn't just like a locker room mess. I feel like every time I feel like
success.
dude, I feel like every
Yeah.
time Vancouver gets close to like being a consistent playoff team, like
Something
something
blows up on them.
happens, something happens, and everything just falls apart. This has happened
Yeah.
twice now. They in 1920 they were right there in the playoffs. They beat wasn't it Vegas they beat in the first round? I
I
believe.
think they lost to Vegas.
Was it
Oh,
Vegas?
no, you're right.
I can't remember.
St. Louis?
They had a good run. I can't.
Yeah,
I
they had
can't
a good
quite
run. They
remember
made it
who-
out the first
they beat,
round.
Oh, you know what? They beat Minnesota in the
That's right,
Yes,
they
qualifier.
thank you.
lost
No,
to
but that was
St.
the year.
Louis, right?
Yeah.
That was the year Demko came out of nowhere.
He broke out.
Like that was
Dude,
the year
he was
broke out in the
unreal.
playoffs.
I think you're right. I think they beat Vegas.
He's still
and
on
they-
that.
He was unbelievable.
He's still on that
He was
contract. He
unbelievable.
was still on that
Yeah.
contract that he signed in those playoffs.
They lost to St. Louis.
Yeah, they lost to
They
St.
lost
Louis.
to St. Louis. I think
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, and then
No, they
that
were-
offseason, you're right. Then they lose Chris Tanev, Tanner, not Tanner Pearson. What's his name? Tyler Toffoli, Jake Markstrom too, right? And
I believe so.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh wait, no, never mind. Does he? I believe. Oh no, you're
no,
right.
it was
It
because
was
they
Markstrom, I
signed
think.
Demko to that deal and like Markstrom
Right.
walk.
Yeah,
which I
you're
mean, in
right.
hindsight, was probably the right decision.
It was a
anyways.
good move,
Right.
but
No, you can't. Sometimes you just can't predict injuries, and it just is what it is. At that point, you hadn't seen Demko's like hip and knee blow up on
Right,
him
like
yet.
you
it was
invest in
just-
your young player that has proven that he can do it.
Yeah.
But still, letting Tanev go was and Toffoli especially because Toffoli was such a force in
perfect
Vancouver.
fit.
He was a perfect fit.
He was fantastic.
he was a
there.
perfect
Yeah,
fit.
and then
And not to mention, they both, if I'm not wrong, they both went to another Western Canadian team. Like
Toffoli ended up in
Toffoli- oh
Montreal.
no, you know
Only went to Montreal.
Montreal, right? And then Tanev goes to Calgary.
I
Yeah, and Markstrom, and then you have to play against them in the Canadian division the year after, like all year.
the mismanagement is just really, really shocking. I mean, this
man.
team should have, since 2020, should have been a contender. There's really no
Contender.
reason for them to have missed the playoffs in the Canadian division year.
Dude, I
They've
think they're gonna
had-
win a cup.
dude,
I walked through it. They had everything you need to win a cup.
They've
You
had Patterson the
decent
whole
depth
time.
players. Yeah,
They've
you
had
had
Hughes.
elite forwards. One of the best defensemen in the NHL. One of the best goalies in the NHL. Like they were set. They, had everything you needed.
They walked into JT Miller just being like a random like 100-point player for them too. Like he,
Yeah, I mean, that
he
guy-
wasn't that player his entire career. Goes to Vancouver and just
Absolutely.
unlocks this potential that nobody ever saw in him.
And now they're taking.
He was in Tampa before Vancouver, right? Or was that
he
New
was in
York
Tampa,
before
no,
Vancouver?
Tampa for
Yeah,
a couple
Right.
years.
It was New York,
He started with
Tampa,
New York.
and then right.
And now
yeah.
they're taking Quinn Hughes for granted, who is, I mean, how often do you get a player as good as
Well,
Quinn
dude, I
Hughes?
don't even know if they're taking him for granted. I just think they can't.
Of course.
I think they just everything about it just blew up in their face, and I think now it's like, now honestly, I think you have to tear it down. Like I think you go get your huge package for Quinn Hughes, and I think Friedman said this on one of the last 3-2 thoughts. He's like, I'd be very surprised if New Jersey doesn't make the call for Quinn Hughes because at this point you have to. Like if he's available, you go get him, right?
Yeah.
And like
That
you
dude-
could get a haul for him, man.
Everything.
I don't
man.
even know what New Jersey would give up in the. I can't even like
Nemec,
dude. I can't even like.
I can't
I can't even
comprehend how
compute.
big a package for Quinn Hughes
Dude,
would be. Like,
I can't even compute what that trade would be in my brain because like is like Dougie
It'd be the best
Hamilton
defensive
involved in
prospect.
that? Like
Yeah, probably Dougie Hamilton.
because you got to move cap for cap. Like is Dougie Hamilton involved? He's
has
struggled.
to be
Like,
some
I kind of want
Nemec
to save.
too,
I
right?
kind of want to save this for the summer.
yeah,
for, like,
that would be a fun
seeing what
summer
happens.
discussion.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Discussion there because I doubt that this quiets down at all. Because if you look at Vancouver in their history, nothing ever quiets down until it's like completely done and blown up completely. So I feel like we'll have a lot more on Vancouver. I don't know if there's much more to say. Do you guys want to move on to
Yeah,
awards, or do you want to keep going on
I'm good
Vancouver?
with awards. No, I think we
Yeah, like it's tough. It's tough right now to talk about Vancouver. Just like wrapping it up here because it's like it's so ongoing that we don't really know what's gonna happen. Like we have to kind of wait for the offseason when the moves are being made to really figure out the direction. Because I want to talk about the direction because I'm like I don't see where they're going because it's kind of they're kind of that New York position where it's like we're trading this guy, but we'll trade for this guy and then we'll
Yeah.
extend him, and then so they're kind of in between the selling and
I
buying
will say
area
though,
right now.
I think their defense does actually look a lot more improved than it was at the start of the season. Like they actually,
Yeah, I did
I
too.
think they did what New York tried to do, but a lot better. But now
Yeah.
their offense is just completely shot. But their top four is Quinn Hughes, D. Elias Pettersson, who was actually really good this year, like severely underrated. Marcus Pettersson, and then Philip Hronik as your top four. That's
Isn't
not bad.
Susie there? Or no,
No, they
Carson Susie
traded
got traded
Susie.
to. Yeah, they
Um,
traded to New York.
and
Never
then they
mind.
also got Victor Mancini from New York, who's a pretty
He's been
underrated
solid.
prospect.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
on that decor probably
yeah.
for the future.
A lot of people rate him highly, man. Like
Yeah,
if you look at the guys who, I think Frankie Corrado is one of them. He loves them, and I
yeah,
that's a guy who played defense in the NHL, watched Vancouver a lot, former Canuck. Like
yeah.
that'll be interesting to see how next season unfolds for them. But yeah, moving on
They
to
gotta,
the
they
unless you
definitely,
just have anything else.
they got definitely got to figure out the offense. Like now they're gonna lose
Yeah,
Becker for sure unless something
yeah,
like miraculous happens.
yeah. I
Uh,
highly doubt
I
that they
highly
keep him.
doubt, dude. He was signing a jersey, like he got a team
Yeah,
signed
they
jersey
signed
on the
jerseys.
last
Yeah.
game. Like he's done, which is so confusing to me. Like,
I thought he should have been a Canuck for
dude,
life, man. That felt like
you're
everyone loved him,
telling
but
me you don't have like the resources this offseason to make that deal work? Like how like I get the term apparently is the issue, but like what
it's
else?
also like 8 by 8, is it not? Like
I thought it was less than that, but I don't know, dude. They definitely need to figure out what they're going to do with their offense this year because now they lost JT Miller, who was such a huge part of that offense. Like he had
and we
100
don't
points
even know if
last year.
Pedersen is gonna get back to what he was. Like we don't know if this is just what Pedersen is now. Like
Pedersen
it's
might be
very possible that
cooked.
could just be it. Yeah.
Yeah, though this team is awful. I'm kind of on your train of thought here. They might need to just tear this down because now
Yeah.
they traded Miller for Philip Hedl, who just can't stay healthy, and it's not his fault. And he's a decent player when he's in the lineup, but concussion issues.
It's
with
not his
them are
fault, but you
bad.
know whose fault that is? That's the front office, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the front office issue.
He showed you, and I hate to say it because like listen, like you said, it's not his fault. And
His whole career's
concussions
just
are
been
awful,
concussion issues, though.
injuries.
Like
Yeah,
this
like,
has
but
been an ongoing
he showed
issue.
you.
This has been an ongoing issue for 4+ years with Philip Hedl. He's
Yeah.
never really been healthy.
Yeah.
The one healthy season he was pretty good. He had 45 points, but that was like
Yeah, but the problem
3 or
is,
4
even if
years
he's
ago.
fully healthy, yeah, even if he's fully healthy, he's not even a second line center. I don't think. I think he's a third line center, like a very
Yeah,
good, top end third line center. Like I think that's
it's
what he
bad.
is.
It's bad. They got to figure out
Yeah.
what they're doing. Jamie
All
Ben.
right, moving on.
Jamie Ben is a Canuck.
What?
Jamie Ben is a Canuck.
That no, dude, he's a star for life. I'm telling you, they'll find a way
We'll
to
see. I don't know.
happen.
They might he might get priced out there. They have an interesting offseason ahead of them, dude.
They do.
This is really their year to kind of go after it.
Win the cup, yeah.
They're gonna get capped out a lot of their UFAs.
Which is, I mean, it's normal in the NHL. We see this happen a lot when you have those guys who are you trying to find a way to fit all these like top players under contract, and then their old like good deals expire, and you just can't afford it
They got their
anymore.
young guys signed up. They got Wyatt Johnston on that deal, and
Great
but
deal.
no, this is their year to go after it because after this year, like Jamie Benn is a UFA, Mikhail Granlund, who he was a rental, but he's a UFA. We'll see what happens with Matt Duchene. Like if Denny Dadanov is going to be gone. Maverick Bork is an RFA. I know he's popped up in a lot of trade discussion because he might get priced out. Then on the defense, like Cody Cece's gone.
Oh no.
They still have Matt Dumba on a 2-year deal at almost $4 million.
You're kidding.
Wow.
That's a terrible deal.
No, dude, you know what? I shit all over Dallas's offseason before the season started because I thought they signed some just horrific deals, and they turned it around. But I mean,
That
there's
defense
nothing else
somehow
to really
locked
say.
it in the playoffs, dude. That was my
Yeah.
biggest concern with them, especially missing Heiskin.
Dude, Tampa traded for Dumba last year, and after the playoffs, Tampa fans were like, that might be one of the worst defensemen I've ever seen put on a Tampa Bay. Like,
I mean, he was
like,
scratched last night for Game 7. Like,
He's.
I don't know if he's injured, but I know he
This
wasn't
guy
playing.
just like hits the market, and somebody's just like, "Yeah, we'll give you $4 million."
dude, they see
Happened
his
with
Minnesota
Utah.
days, and they're like, they see the Minnesota days, and like, yup, we need it.
It
We
happened.
need
It happened in Arizona last year too. It's like somebody just sees like that little shoots R on it. It's like, you know what, dude?
But you know what was
$4
weird
million
about that Utah
is
signing?
yours.
You know what was really weird? Dumbo waited a long time to sign, and he still somehow got the AAV. Like I was expecting him to be one of those last guys on the market, and then he has to settle for like a $2 million deal.
Yeah.
No, he waited forever, and he still got the
I
$4
thought he was
million
gonna get a league
dollars.
min deal, man. Like he hasn't been good in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to awards. I want to start. The awards that I want to focus on, like, there's more, but I want to focus on the main ones. So I think me, Seb, and Jacob agreed that we're going to focus on the Hart, the Norris, the Vezina, the Selke, and
Yeah,
Jack
and these
Adams,
are the ones
and
that
then-
have the nominees
Yeah.
announced already. Like Calder, we don't know yet, so we'll wait till that's announced,
Yeah.
and that's going to be a big debate too. So
Yeah. Well, I feel like everyone kind of knows who the Calder winner
Yeah.
is already. I don't think there's much debate after then how the end of the season went, but Yeah, and also we'll talk about the Masterton. Just kind of like a round of applause to everyone who was able to even be in a discussion. Because it's really incredible what some of these guys go through. Like, yeah, I know we joked about it earlier, but it really is incredible what some of these guys go through, and they're still
Yeah.
somehow able to lace up the skates and just play hockey. It's incredible.
I was just
But
thinking of the
yeah,
dude.
where do you guys want to start? Do you guys want to start with the heart, or do we want to save the heart for last?
We could save Hart for last. I think that's like the biggest. I'm down to do
Okay.
like Norris or Vesna first. Or you know what? No,
You know
let's
what,
do
let's-
Jack Adams.
let's start with
Let's do
Jack Adams, yeah, I was
Let's
gonna
do this in
say,
reverse
yeah.
order of how you have it written out, Mateo.
Yeah, I agree. I went for like the most important ones first, because I was just like knocking them off as I went, and then I was gonna decide on like what we're here. So Jack Adams, the three options that were nominated. Oh, also I didn't put any player voting in there. Like I know what's the sorry, yeah, the Ted Lindsay. I know that's player voted, so I kind of left that out. Like, because I mean, we could kind of see how players vote from the past, and we could probably decide which one they're gonna pick. But I left that off. These are all from the media voting, so that's also another consideration I took into when picking which awards to talk about. But the three options for Jack Adams, which is the coach of the year, obviously. Spencer Carberry from Washington, fantastic year. I mean, there's nothing you can really say about that. Starter O'Neill in Winnipeg, another great year, probably the best year that they've had in a very, very long time. And I know they playoffs are playoffs, but this is a regular season award. And then Marty St. Louis in Montreal. I see a lot of people complaining about St. Louis, which I think is kind of interesting.
Honestly, the way I kind of see it is that last spot was probably going to be between San Luis and Dean Evison, but
And whoever made the playoffs was
exactly.
honestly, I would still give the spot to Everson over St. Louis. I just think what Everson was
agree
able to
too.
do with that Columbus team was
Dude,
fantastic.
The,
They really
tr-
made the
the,
playoffs.
the tragedy that they had this year, it's kind of
Yeah.
incredible that they were able to really go out and
Hang around that long.
dude, they were right in it till the last game. They kind of played themselves out of it for a little bit,
And then they got
and
back in.
the last 2 weeks of the season, they were right in there, dude. They were
It looked
Yeah,
like
they were
Montreal
right
was
there. It
running
was
away
really
with it at one
impressive.
point, but it ended up being really close. Yeah.
Yeah.
really
Okay,
impressive.
let's give our picks. We'll go one through three. So I'll say my third, and then Jacob, you could go, and Seb, you could go. So my my number 3 pick is St. Louis. Obviously, a lot of people, like I said, I see a lot of people complaining about him, and they're saying that when Montreal just really competitive, maybe he's not the coach for them, and they go find someone else. But I mean, still making the playoffs with Montreal team, the expectations were really low going into the season, and their season was incredible. I mean, making the playoffs, and it was just really good for that fan base. Obviously, you get Demidov coming over too. But St. Louis I thought he did a pretty good job making team. Like I said, making the playoffs for this team was pretty impressive. So yeah, St. Louis is my number 3. I need to go put my laptop on the charger, so you guys to go. I'll be back in
Sure.
like 2 seconds.
Yeah, I agree with Mateo. San Luis is my number 3 pick. I wouldn't have even had him as a nominee. Like we said, Dean Evison I would have had over him. I would have even had Jim Montgomery, who I think did great work in St. Louis this season.
Would have been a very good pick, very underrated.
Yeah.
I think he kind of got hurt by the fact that he got fired in Boston
Right, yeah,
this
yeah.
season, and then it's kind of tough for that. But I thought I would have had him over him as well. That's a really good.
Even
pick
John
there.
Cooper, who I mean is kind of a shoe-in for these kind of things as one of the top coaches in the league. But I think he, I mean, I don't know. Like we only know so much about what the coaches do as fans. Like we're not in any of these locker rooms, but I mean, you just kind of look at a team, compare last season to this season.
Results speak for themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Craig Berube, who I'm sure got votes.
He probably got some votes. Yeah, he did very good. I don't think in this era we'll ever see a Leafs coach win Jack Adams.
Unless they win,
You can't do it, and honestly, it's rightfully so, because unless you go on for like a historical season, everyone expects the
Yeah.
Leafs to be what they are. And honestly, if we're being real, they've never been a top team in the regular season, like a top 2 team in the regular season. Like we've always been kind of sitting around second or third in the Atlantic, and that's just how it is. So, also, I'm sorry, I know Seb, it's your pick now, but I just wanted to say before the season, I wrote that Sheldon Keefe would win the Jack Adams, and my brother laughed at me a lot, and I know I was wrong. I was wrong now, but I just think
He was a front runner at the
He
start.
was the injury, like the Devils off to a hot start, and then the injuries killed them, and then they just never got
Was
back
he
on
a
track.
front
So,
runner?
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
He
people
was,
had.
he
Dude,
was, man.
we forget how hot New Jersey was to start the year.
to start the year.
Yeah, it looked like they might win the Metro. Yeah. So Seb, go ahead. Third pick.
Yeah, my third, same as you guys, Martin St.
Yeah.
Louis. I think it was really impressive what they did after the Four Nations break. They kind of just looked
Yeah,
like a
that's a good point.
mid-ass team throughout the first part of the season. And then, yeah, after Four Nations, I think a lot of their top guys locked it in. And Martin St. Louis kind of benefits from that success. But I think, honestly, I attribute a lot of that more to the play of like Nick Suzuki, who really elevated.
Yeah. Samuel Montembeault as well.
Samuel Montembeault, Lane Hudson,
Jake
we didn't talk
Dobbs,
about Calder in this too, but I get
Well, when Jacob already said that right before we started that we're gonna wait on the Calder because the three nominees
sorry,
haven't
yeah,
been picked yet.
sorry. Yeah.
No worries.
But no, yeah, for me, Martin St. Louis, third guy. I commend what he did after the Four Nations break, but I think Carberry and Arniel were more impressive with what they were given.
Yeah, honestly, I think I think all three of our picks are probably gonna be the same here. I think it's a
Probably.
pretty clear like pecking order of
Yeah,
coaches
do you just
here.
want to say it,
Yeah.
Mateo?
But yeah, our I think I can speak for all of us when I say our second pick is Craig Berube. No, I'm kidding. Is Scott
Yeah.
Arniel in Winnipeg. I think the impressive thing with Arniel is that we've seen Winnipeg have good regular seasons before, but they always kind of tail off after the All-Star break. Like you kind of see them falter and they limp their way into the playoffs, and that just didn't happen for this Winnipeg team. I was kind of waiting for it all year because it's the same story. They start off great. They're like President's Trophy level, and then they get to the like I said the All-Star break and it falls off and they limp into the playoffs and they lose in the first round. But they were able to keep their pace steady throughout. They had a couple blips like any team does, but they were always able to bring it back, get it on track, and they powered through the regular season. Kind of made it look like kind of a joke of a lead at certain points. To start, they were running through teams, and it wasn't even really that close at all. Like I think that up until one point, the Leafs were the only team that beat them, and I think that was like close to 15 games into the season, and the Leafs knocked them off for the first time in regulation. I think it was. So yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say on Arniel. That Winnipeg had a great season. We'll see how Game 7 goes tonight, but like I said earlier, it's a regular season award.
Yeah, no, I think Jacob. Do we both have Arniel at 2?
Yeah, I've got Arniel
think-
too. I don't have anything else
yeah,
to add.
and then-
The President's Trophy winning coach usually gets nominated, and Scott Arniel should be no exception to that.
Yeah, he had a great season, and honestly, like you can't even blame playoffs on him at this point. Like like Hellebuck turns into a pumpkin again in the playoffs, and it's just kind of like, what do you do, right? What's up, Sub?
No, it's like you're right. Like it's brutal,
Oh, yeah,
but like
yeah.
you can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, and then also your first line center gets beamed in the head and can't play again after like a really terrible hit.
Do you guys want to hear something funny?
Anyways,
Did you know that in 2023, when Jim Montgomery won the Jack Adams, he was up against Dave Hackstall and Lindy Ruff? That's so interesting.
Jeez, dude. Dude, what? What is that top 3?
That's crazy.
Was Hackstall in Seattle for
and
that?
I'm guessing that's Lindy Ruff with New Jersey.
They're both gone.
Yeah, they are.
Well, actually, sorry, Lindy Ruff is in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Lindy Ruff is in Buffalo.
Basically
but
gone.
He's
He's
basically
basically
it's not the
gone.
NHL. It's not the NHL. You're in
Basically
Buffalo.
gone.
All right. First pitch obviously is Carberry. I think what he did with this team is actually incredible. I think last year we saw him. Just the fact that he got in was pretty impressive. Last year, and I honestly he could have probably been a Jack Adams. I don't know if he was a nominee. I can't quite remember, but he wasn't. He could have been there. Like I know they weren't that great if you looked at like the overall standing of the league, but then into the playoffs last year was impressive. Obviously they got swept by New York and just outmatched. But this year, I don't think anyone expected this Washington team. Like they were there. I think everyone looked at them as a wild card team again. But they like best one. Like they were right there with Winnipeg for the President's Trophy. Great year. Ovi completes his chase, and they had made quick work of Montreal in the first round.
Yeah.
And I always bring up playoffs because I think it's kind of tough to ignore, especially when we're in it. But I know it's a regular season award. But I think it also just shows that this team wasn't just regular season built. Like they're playing some really good hockey, and it's been pretty impressive. I think the signings obviously helped them. They took a lot of big swings in the offseason, and I didn't put GM of the year up yet because I don't think it's been picked yet. I think that gets picked like around the NHL, the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, it's around the second round, which is odd.
Maybe you're right. Yeah. But I mean, they took some big swings and they hit on that PLD trade.
Jacob Chychrun deal too.
Jacob
Oh, man, that was
Chychrun
a good
deal.
trade.
Yeah. Logan Thompson deal, fantastic. Probably the best trade of the offseason if you look at it. And yeah, I mean, Carberry did great work for this team, and I think he's a clear pick. I don't think anyone else really uh, can really compete with him. I thought if Dean Everson somehow made the playoffs with Columbus, I think there would be a real like discussion there between who really is the Jack Adams. But Carberry, yeah, he's my pick. And I think he's all of our picks, obviously.
Yeah, Carberry, like you said, just with how Washington looked last year, not a single one of us expected him. Like not a single one of us even really expected Washington to be where they are at this point. They made good moves this offseason, but even then, I don't think anybody had them maybe higher than third in the third in the Metro, and that's being generous. He took that team and just gave them like a clear, definitive purpose. They randomly turned into just like one of the deepest teams in the NHL.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alexi Protas has been like a revelation for them. He's been fantastic.
And
this
like
year.
you can just tell all the guys just like would run through a wall for him. He has that locker room like completely under his voice, and no, it's really impressive. I think
another impressive thing that we see is that a lot of teams, when they try to build their team through the offseason with like a lot of signings, is we see it blow up in their face a lot. Like Nashville, perfect example. And it does take a lot when you get a lot of new pieces in as a coach to try to bring them together and get them playing cohesively, because they don't have a lot of experience playing together. So I think that's another kind of feather in his cap, because it's not easy to get a team with so many new additions to work together this well.
Yeah.
All right. Jacob, do you have anything to add on that?
Literally nothing.
No?
You said it all.
Okay. Selke. This one is interesting. I mean, it's not interesting. I think we all know who's going to win this one.
Yeah.
But the three nominees were Barkov, Reinhart, and Cirelli. I think our picks might be different here. Or you know what? They might be the same, but I don't know. We honestly haven't talked about who we have for our picks at all. I think me, Seb, and Jacob talked a lot outside of the pod, so I think I kind of have a good grasp on what you guys were kind of thinking for each award, but I'm not quite sure. So I'll give my third place to Reinhart. I mean, I don't know. I think that what separated him and Cirelli to me is I think Cirelli's a little bit more important to Tampa than Reinhart is to Florida. I think you kind of see that when you have two Selke nominees from the same team. And I don't know, Cirelli. I think Cirelli's Four Nations also helped him a lot. We saw him play really important shutdown minutes for Team Canada during the tournament, and he's always been one of the better defensive centers in the league. So yeah, that's my reasoning.
Yeah, Reinhardt's also my number 3 pick. Honestly, I don't have a huge opinion on the Selke because I'm not honestly paying attention to players' defensive games if they're not on the Leafs, because there's not a lot of publicly available stats on defense. So it's kind of hard to know when you're not watching every single game. But just based off of what I know about Sam Reinhart, number 3, just not much. I know he scores a lot of goals. That's what I know about Sam Reinhart.
Yeah.
Seb?
Same thing for you, Seb?
For me, I'm going Cirelli at 3. All 3 guys are really good offensively, or on both sides of the puck. Don't get me wrong. I do think it's kind of a toss up, to be honest. It's hard to put a guy at 3 because it's oh well, they're all great defensively. Statistically, they're all great defensively and everything, but I just think Reinhart and Barkov combined are 2 of the premier defensive guys in the league. Reinhart especially is so underrated in that sense. And Reinhart also is a huge part of their penalty kill too. He's just one of the most well-rounded players in the league. For me, I'd go Reinhart at 2 for this one. Cirelli at 3.
Okay. And then obviously Barkov, there's not much to say. He's the best defensive forward in the league. Shuts out everyone.
The new Bergeron,
maybe McDavid. Yeah, that's. And we already talked so much about Barkov last pod because we were previewing the Leafs vs Florida series, which starts tomorrow. But there's not much more to say. I think we all said what we had to say. Jacob, you went second for Cirelli, right?
Yeah. Honestly, the reason there is just, I mean, kind of the same thing. Barkov is widely
Barkov.
He's Barkov, exactly. Someday this trophy will be named after him, and I think with the Selke, one thing that people I think that maybe should be talking about a little bit more is it's the best defensive forward, but you should still acknowledge impact of that player.
Offensive
to the team,
ability.
It's the
offensive
best at
ability.
both ends of the
Yeah,
ice.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
Cirelli, I think, finally gets some recognition here because he's been, I think, considered one of the best defensive forwards in the league for quite a few years now. But
A long time.
yeah,
Yeah.
but this year he had his highest offensive output that he's had in his entire career: 27 goals, 59 points. That makes a difference.
100%.
Yeah. But I still get number one to Barkov. The most underrated
All right.
player in the league.
Moving on to the only award that actually really matters, and it's the Vezina. This is my goalie corner. I haven't done it in a bit, so here we go, guys. I'm so dialed in for this. Are we
This
ready?
is such like a boring Vezina one too.
Shut up.
So,
Here we go.
So boring.
You spelled Kemper wrong.
I'm
on
going
the
all
outline.
three. Both of you stop. I don't care. I
Yeah,
really
it's a
don't.
goalie though. You should
Anyways.
care.
I don't care about Darcy Kemper. I'm sorry.
Okay, I know who your number
Anyways.
3 pick is.
Number 3, Darcy Kemper. Honestly, happy for him. Kind of turned his career around after having what was probably looked at as one of the worst contracts in the NHL. Had a really good year in LA. LA was we talked about the demise in the playoffs already, but in the regular season they were incredibly hard to beat on home ice. Kemper was a big part of it. He was fantastic. Great season. To be nominated as a 35-year-old is impressive. He's had a long career. So yeah, Darcy Kemper is my 3. I'm gonna run through all 3 because I'm excited, and then you guys to go. Number 2. Number 2. Andre Vasilevsky. Vasilevsky turned it up this season. We've seen Vazzy kind of struggle a lot, and that's a mix of injuries, a lot of hockey being played. But we know what this guy's capable of when he plays at his best, and he played at his best this season. One of the biggest reasons why Tampa was able to kind of turn around a slow start, he turned it up, and he was one of the best goalies in the NHL. I always feel the need to bring the playoffs because that's what we're in the middle of it. He struggled in the playoffs again. But like I said, regular season award doesn't really matter all that much. What happens in the playoffs for these awards, not even all that much, doesn't matter at all. So Vazzy number 2 looked like vintage Vazzy. Argue probably a top 3 goalie of all time once it's all said and done. He's up there with Hasek and Waugh. I think he's number 3 to me. Number 1, Connor Hellebuck, sensational all year, just from pillar to post, just great, no complaints about him. Might have had like 1 or 2 bad games all year. When you play as much as Connor Hellebuck does, that's incredibly difficult to do. And that could be a discussion for a different day because I think it honestly hinders his playoff performance. I think he's just so burnt out by the end of it that you need Comrie to start more games for you, or you go out and get a backup that plays more games
A
for you.
proper one.
Yeah. So Hellebuck, fantastic year. I mean, that guy. If that guy had any playoff success, I think he'd be looked at as a top 3 goalie of all time, to be honest with you. I just think the stuff that he does is, and the other thing this is more of a goalie perspective, he makes goaltending look kind of boring, which as a goalie I love because you look at Vazzy, he has all those like splits behind the back saves, like whatever. But from a technical perspective, Hellebuck is a big body. He moves well. Positional goalie. He's fantastic positionally. Makes difficult saves look easy, and the easy saves always look easy, which is a underrated value to have. I think we saw it in Toronto so often where easy saves look very difficult for guys like Samsonov. And sometimes I'm like watching the game and everyone's like, oh my God, what a save. And I'm like, dude, if you're square to the puck, shuffle over a little bit, it's into your chest.
Dude,
and you don't need to go for the splits and windmill glove saves.
Desperation
I just
saves
wanna
are
say-
cool and the highlight reel saves are cool, but I mean, if there's too many of those, like,
Yeah.
there's athleticism
Yeah.
and then there's positional play, right?
Dude,
Yeah.
I just want to say, imagine we did this podcast during like the Ilya Samsonov, Justin
my
Hall,
God. I think we'd be
Alex
yelling every
Kerfoot
episode.
days. Oh my God, we would have.
I have a goalie corner every single night, every single day, dude. I would have a goalie corner on not even a goalie corner, a Samsonov corner,
Dude,
and it would just be everything that I got pissed off about.
Dude,
with
we would
Samsonov
have
the last
blown
day.
blown up. It would have been
Yeah.
daily
Yeah.
crash outs every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys should go now because I took it over. I'm sorry. I just got so excited. I was so excited for the Vezina.
Honestly, it might be quicker if we just go through our 1, 2, 3 on our own.
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
You're probably right.
Sure. I agree with you, Mateo. My number 3 is Darcy Kemper. He had a great season. The Kings had a great season. Tampa and Los Angeles finished, I think, similarly in the standings. Vasi and Kemper had similar save percentages too. Vasi had a 921, Kemper with a 922. Tiebreaker for me goes to Vasilevsky. He played 13 more games, and he's just so much of an X factor. Like Kemper is not the same level of game stealing.
He's not.
Goaltending that Vasilevsky is. That being said, it makes it obvious that Vasilevsky is my number 2. I don't need to tell you guys how good of a goalie Andre Vasilevsky is. Like you said, Mateo, he's probably going to go down as a top 3 goaltender of all time. I'm pretty sure he's a Conn Smythe winner. If he isn't, he should be.
He is, yeah. I believe he is.
Like he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like Vasilevsky's a fantastic goalie, and he got right back on his game where he left off after a couple bad injuries.
He won the Conn Smythe in the 2021 season. Interesting thing about Vasilevsky, only one Vezina to his name.
Yeah, I was
Seriously?
gonna say it's very odd.
Yeah.
Only one Vezina.
Honestly, it's kind of a running theme though. I feel like with goalies is winning multiple Vezinas. Like I'm pretty sure Henrik Lundqvist only has one Vezina. Marc-Andre Fleury only won a Vezina till when he was in Vegas. His last season in Vegas. Carey Price only won Vezina, I'm pretty sure. But Connor Hellebuck, I guess, will be an exception to that rule because I think he's going to win the Vezina this season. Does he have a Vezina? Am I talking out of my ass here? He's got a Vezina.
No, he does. He does.
Okay,
have
yeah,
Vezina,
19, 20, and 23, 24. He's actually the.
Yeah, this is gonna be his third
If you
Vezina.
go back to back.
I think he's going to go back to back. Man, like it's just hard to bet against Connor Hellebuck in the regular season. I should clarify. Yeah, he's a fantastic goalie. 3-time Vezina winner, one of the best all time.
Okay. I think. Oh, so did you go? Sorry.
No.
Go ahead. Sorry. I've been trying to like pull up different stats. to each award
No,
just
you're
to
cool.
Make sure I
I've been doing the same. That's why I'm like looking off on
Yeah.
the side the whole time. But
Yeah.
nah, for me, on this one, it's gonna be the same as you guys. Darcy Kemper at third. For me, again, great season from Darcy Kemper, but end of the day, LA kind of as a whole, I think had better team defense than Tampa. Even looking at it, goals saved above expected, they were pretty similar, but Darcy Kemper was 6th in the NHL at 22.5 goals saved above expected. Andre Vasilevsky was 2 at 29.2. So looking at it that way, Vasilevsky bailed his team out more. You could say, I guess that makes him more deserving of that second place if we're looking at it just this season. And then Connor Hellebuck, obviously, number 1. There's just not much I can say that you guys haven't. He had a 39.6 goals saved above expected this season. This is all according to Money Puck, by the way. 39.6. It's the lead league in goals saved above expected by over 10. Could be the Hart winner this season. We'll see how it votes. He's my Hart pick.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
But,
me too.
yeah, it's I don't think there's much debate here on who wins the Vezina.
All right. Are we just to move on to the Norris now?
Yeah.
Okay. I think this one's interesting because I think there's a pretty solid argument for all 3 of these guys to win it. Like you can't really take away anything from any of these guys that had great seasons, but the nominees are the 2 obvious ones that are pretty much there every single year. It's Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar, and then the third one was Zach Werenski, who had a fantastic year.
Incredible year.
So do we want to change up the order of who goes 1 through 3, or are we good with keeping it the way it is?
I think we should just go through our full 3.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But do you want to go first, 7, then Jacob, then me, or are we good with what we're
Sure,
doing?
yeah, if you guys don't mind.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
For this one, my number 3 is going to go to Quinn Hughes, and it's for me, if I'm being honest, he would have been my Norris pick if he was healthy the whole season. He only played, I think, 66 or 67 games, and he was still amazing. He had like
68 games.
He had like 76 points too, right? If I'm
16 goals in that time. I'm
Yeah.
sorry to cut you off. I was looking at the stats
you're
like,
good.
oh my god.
Yeah, no, like he had an amazing year, and honestly, if he was healthy the whole year, I think he could have been in the Hart conversation as well. He was literally the only reason Vancouver was in it at all at any point this season, and yeah, for me, it's mainly just injury that kind of holds him back in this discussion. But he would have been my Norris pick if he was healthy, and honestly, I would have had him on my Hart ballot over like Draisaitl or Kucherov if he was healthy the whole year in Vancouver, if they made it to the playoffs. But my number 2, it's gonna go to Werenski. Uh, at the end of the day, like he really just exploded this year, more than he ever has. I think he ended up with what 70 something points
82
around. I know
points.
he fell off.
Over a
Oh,
point
it was
per game.
80, really?
82.
82
Wow.
in
Okay, never
81
mind.
games.
I remember seeing that he kind of teetered off a little bit towards the end of the year. Like I think he was playing at almost a 90-point pace at one
Well,
point.
that was everyone on Columbus. Like as the season kind of got deeper, you could try and tell like
Yeah.
they just didn't have the horses to go.
But you know what, man? Like again, 82 points. He was the driving force on that defense this year. You could argue he
played
was the,
huge minutes.
could argue he was their MVP, like even above a guy like Kirill Marchenko. Really kind of took over like a leadership role. But yeah, no, for me, he's my number 2, and then Cale Makar, man, number 1.
Yeah.
First defenseman to score 30 goals since Mike Green. He's just so
Little pull.
he's just amazing at being a fifth forward, but still being so amazing defensively that like you don't even notice him really back there, like making mistakes and stuff like that. I think he's the perfect definition of like having a good offense as your best defense, because he's able to just like transition the puck so well. He's one of the best skaters in the league too. Yeah, no, he's gonna be the Norris pick for me this year. But again, big disclaimer here: Quinn Hughes would have been my Norris pick, but because of the Hughes injury, Makar still had like genuinely an amazing season. I think through and through, Cale Makar is the best defenseman in the NHL.
Yeah.
Year in, year out, he is. But yeah, no, for me, it's Cale Makar.
Jacob, you want to go ahead?
I thought it was going to be different by putting Quinn Hughes third, but sadly, we have the same picks again. I've got Quinn Hughes third.
Okay, I'm just to spoil it. We all have the same picks.
Okay.
Like,
God damn it.
We're so aligned on this podcast.
I feel like the heart's going to be a little bit different, but yeah, I have Quinn Hughes third. I mean, he had a fantastic season, 76 points in 68 games, like we said already. Yeah, he's obviously the reigning Norris Trophy winner. He's a great defenseman. Couldn't stay healthy this year. Missed the Four Nations, and probably would have had more than 90 points had he stayed healthy. Obviously, unfortunately, that's not the case. So he falls to number 3. But honestly, him being at number 3 has nothing to do with his level of play. It's just that Zach Werenski, who I have at number 2, just had a phenomenal season. I mean, I don't know if anyone could have predicted going into the season that Zach Werenski would have had 82 points. Just what an incredible breakout season for a guy who has struggled with injuries throughout his career. I mean, 2 seasons ago, 22-23, he only played 13 games. That's a guy who was nominated for the Calder years ago. It's great to see Werenski break out like that. I think he's going to be a mainstay on Columbus's defense group for years to come. And one of the reasons I kind of give him the number 2 spot over Quinn Hughes too is because he's kind of the only guy on Columbus's defense group. It's pretty much just Werenski and a bunch of Metro Division rejects. Ivan Provorov,
Damon Severson.
Get that guy some help. Columbus is going to be a problem for years, man. Like they're going to be a great team, and I think Werenski's a big reason why they were even in the playoff picture at all this season.
Yeah, no.
They're not close without him. Led the team in points.
yeah. Are you? Oh, sorry.
Cale Makar. I mean, all the same reasons Seb said. He's the best defenseman in the league year in, year out.
Yeah.
I maybe not his own team's MVP like Werenski was, but I mean that's not the award. The award is the best defenseman in the league, which was Cale Makar. Like you said, 30 goals for the first time since Edmonton Oilers legend Mike Green.
Edmonton Oilers legend.
I mean, it's
Detroit Red Wings legend.
Yeah. And it's not just the offensive output for Makar. It's like he's just a rock back there too. He's a demon.
Yeah. I like I said, we all have the same picks. I think something that you guys didn't really mention with Quinn Hughes that's underrated is he was also the captain of that locker room. He's a young captain. And it's kind of tough with everything that was going on in that room to the fact that he still produced the way he did, and that was probably his head was probably spinning. And I know Taka was too. Like there's a lot of discussion on how Taka just kind of didn't want to deal with it anymore at the end of it. I think I saw some whispers there. So it's just like, yeah, that's tough for a young captain. He still performed the way he did, which was pretty incredible. Number 2, I just want to give Werenski a shout out. I really want to find every single reason to give Werenski a Norris here because I think he really deserved it with his play. It's just Makar is so sensational that it doesn't matter. Like with Makar scoring 30 goals, it's such an incredible feat for a defenseman. And Werenski was almost there. 23 goals is still incredible for a defenseman. So, I mean, I think if he was not playing in the era with Kale Makar,
he gets a Norris.
then he probably has an Norris. And I think he's one of those like guys that doesn't get a lot of talk because he is in Columbus, but if he's had problems staying healthy, but when he is healthy, he puts up some pretty nice point totals. So yeah, and then there's nothing else you can say about Makar. Honestly, it really I thought Makar could have probably been there would have been an argument for the Hart when Colorado was having all those injury issues and they didn't address the goaltending yet. It didn't make all those trades for all those other forwards. Him and McKinnon were really the driving force behind that team even staying competitive and staying in the playoff picture because it very easily could have slid off the other end. And
they were shaky. They were out of it at the start of the year. They really struggled to start. They were right at the bottom. They were at the bottom of the Central. It was bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think both Makar and Hughes, if Hughes stayed healthy, I think you're right. Some he could have been on the Hart ballot. If Colorado didn't get help from their GM, I think you could say the same thing about Makar. That guy was just fantastic all year. But yeah, moving into the biggest trophy, obviously the Hart nominees here are Kucherov, Draisaitl, and Hellebuck. I'm Jacob. I know you said that all of our picks might be different at the Hart, but I don't know if they will be. So let's. Seb, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. My number 3 for this one, it's going to be Nikita Kucherov. For me, Nikita Kucherov.
Oh, Jacob's shaking his head. Oh no.
Nikita Kucherov.
Is that the same thing as you?
I haven't decided yet.
This is going to change it just to be different. I'm telling you right
might.
now.
I mean, I wouldn't be changing it because I haven't made a decision yet.
Yeah.
Nah, for me, Nikita Kucherov, he has one of the best top 6s in the NHL around him. I think with him, you had a guy like Hagel this year who really was his partner in crime. Even looking at their team point totals, Kucherov and Hagel were pretty much right by each other in terms of even strength points. Nikita Kucherov had 75, Hagel had 71, and Hagel wasn't even touching that first power play pretty much. I remember all of his goals were scored even strength. He did not score a power play goal this year. So for me, Kucherov had a great season, Art Ross season, but he's not the most valuable to his team in my opinion. Now, my top 2, this gets a little interesting. Is this who I think is going to win it or who I want to win it?
Who I want, or who you want, because okay. I want to go on a big rant about the hockey media and how they treat goalies with the Hart after.
Okay, because I was going to say, if this is who I'm predicting, if Winnipeg loses tonight, I don't know. I mean, I guess the voting's already been done, but I have a feeling that Hellebuck might not.
Cut you off, but the one thing about the voting is that you're right. It's been done for this award, but we were talking about how it's weird after the second round to do the GM voting, and a lot of the writers even admit this. It's just really hard not to take playoffs into consideration
because
you're voting during the playoffs. Yeah. So that's one thing about the GMs that you usually see a team that went into the Final Four usually at the GM. But sorry, to cut you off.
No, you're good. No, honestly, that's my exact point with the GM award. It's it makes no sense because you're letting playoff bias kind of get into it when anything can happen in the playoffs. That might not really be the GM's success. But besides that, no. I just have a weird feeling about writers voting in Hellebuck as the winner, but for me, my number 2 would be Draisaitl. Again, it's not to say that he wasn't huge for Edmonton this year. He was probably the biggest reason as to why they really stayed afloat through a lot of their goaltending struggles, a lot of their defensive struggles this year. He was amazing for them, but at the end of the day, like we talk about, Connor McDavid kind of struggled this year, and even then, Leon Draisaitl still only had the 5-on-5, or sorry, even strength lead in points by 3. Connor McDavid was right there with 69. He had 72. Draisaitl also did a lot of scoring on the power play this season. I believe he had 36 even strength goals. He finished with 55. So
52 goals.
52. So still a lot of power play goals there as well for him. Which isn't to say like it's not respectable. Like the best players get the job done on the power play too. Like it's a huge part of the game.
Yeah.
But
if you ever look at like the point leaders or goal leaders, a lot of it is power play.
A lot of it is
the
power
easiest
play,
way
yeah.
to score.
And don't get me wrong, like it is a huge part of the game, and it's not to like discredit what he did this season. It was a huge year for him, especially in goal scoring. He led the goal scoring race by like what? I'm trying to do the quick maths in my head. It was like 8 goals or something, 8 goals. But I think just what Connor Hellebuck means to the Winnipeg Jets and the level of season he had, like this is the best goaltending season we've seen since Carey Price in 2015.
Yeah.
Who also won the Vezina and the Hart.
And the Hart, yeah, which was going to be my point. I think it's right on par with that season, especially when looking at the Jets as a team. Like, don't get me wrong, the Jets have a pretty solid team, but even looking at their defense, even after the like Luke Shen edition, it's not that great, man. Like they got Morrissey, DeMello, Neil Pionk, Dylan Sandberg was pretty good this year.
Logan Stanley,
like he is awful. Logan Stanley is like
everyone in Winnipeg hates that guy.
Awful.
Man. Yeah.
And then like Luke Shen was a good get, but like their defense isn't one of the tops in the league. Their forward core like top 6 wise, they're okay, but like second line center is a big hole, and they've had their issues there as well. Connor Hellebuck is easily the best player on the Jets. I think by far. He had the best goaltending season since Carey Price. I think is right on par with it. Yeah, for me, I think when you're looking at the other 2 seasons that the other 2 nominees had, I just don't think it's as valuable to their team as what Connor Hellebuck was to the Jets this season. He is the reason they are the President's Trophy winner this year. Yeah.
Yeah. Good pick, Seb. As much as I want to go against you for the sake of being different, I completely agree with you. I have Nikita Kucherov in 3rd place, and I'll do you one better. It's for the exact same reason.
That's a clip. Chat, we're clipping that.
Yeah, I mean, Kucherov obviously had a great season, but he's got, like you said, probably one of the best top 6s in the league around him. And I compare that to Leon Draisaitl's season. I mean, Draisaitl and McDavid were really the only 2 players who scored for the Oilers this season.
For the Oilers.
Bouchard was the only other player who had over 50 points. Like,
dude, what happened?
This is why I picked the Kings, man. Like the Oilers just, I think the Knights are gonna fucking sweep. Like, this is a whole different conversation. I'm hating on the Oilers now for the sake of it, but it just pisses me off that they're so good and they just have 2 good players. Like, that's why I hate the Oilers. They piss me off, but. That's why Draisaitl's second, because he's that good. Like McDavid. Oh shit! I guess I accidentally ejected the disc from my Xbox. McDavid should probably
started crashing us so hard.
Oh great! Now my Xbox is on. McDavid should probably get Hart votes this year too, because. I mean, the Oilers, what were they?
I just don't think he played enough games to get the votes.
I mean,
think that's the problem.
He definitely didn't play enough
Well,
games
although,
to
you know
get
what?
nomination.
Draisaitl only played 4 more games than him, so that's...
Yeah, Draisaitl only played 70 this year.
I mean, I think that's
71.
where the tiebreaker goes. Obviously, Draisaitl winning the Rocket Richard, too. He had a fantastic season. Him and McDavid, more so than in the past couple of years, really carried the Oilers. That's where I give the exit Draisaitl over Kucherov. And Connor Hellebuck, my oh my, where do I even begin? He's
made to save in the playoffs. That's where I begin.
That's where I begin.
Yeah, maybe if they did the voting in the second round, like the Jim Gregory, then we'd have that conversation. But basically, the Jets, I don't think come close to the President's Trophy without Connor Hellebuck's performance this year.
Yeah.
Like you said, Seb, they've got I don't know, high mid at best defense core, and same with their forward group. They don't have a lot of star power outside of Kyle Connor, obviously.
Mark Scheifele.
Which, I mean,
But yeah,
we can go back and forth on that all day. Hellebuck, 925 save percentage. I mean, just absolutely dominant this year. You don't get that very often out of a goaltender. I think it needs to be recognized. I really hope he becomes the first Hart Trophy or first goalie to win the Hart Trophy since Carey Price, because he's definitely earned it. Mateo?
can I just say
Yeah,
one thing? Or sorry, Mateo.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Seb.
No, go ahead, Seth, go ahead.
It's just like one really quick thing on McDavid. I find it super funny that it was like last 2 weeks of the season we're all looking at McDavid and we're like, he might lose his 100-point streak this year. Like he's been on a streak for the past, what is this?
I think
1,
his whole
2,
career,
3,
no?
4,
Aside from
5.
his rookie year?
There was 1 year, 1920, where he didn't have 100
You're right.
points.
97 points. What a
But
bomb.
he's on a 5-year, 100-year point, or 100 years, Jesus Christ. He's on a 5-year, 100 or more point streak, and it was looking like he was going to lose that. And the last 2 weeks of the season just completely locked it the hell in and gets that 100 points right on the dot.
Gearing up for playoffs, man.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, okay, so going on to mine, I have the same pits. What happened?
I forgot
The
about
tailgate, I forgot.
The
Leaf Square.
thing is it's
Oh,
1
yeah.
p.m.
No, I forgot.
La Polizia, no.
Oh
no,
my God.
dude, it's supposed to thunderstorm tomorrow anyways.
Okay, never mind then.
Yeah, anyways, moving on to my picks, I have the same picks. I think I can't really say anything else about Kucherov. You guys said everything in the top six. Like, great season, but I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is with Draisaitl is that we saw an Oilers team without a healthy McDavid. Like, McDavid was pretty much hurt the whole year. Even when he was playing early and midway through the season, he really didn't look like himself. And he was still fantastic. Don't get me wrong, he's Connor McDavid, but we know the Connor McDavid level, and that wasn't the Connor McDavid level. And then, like Seb said, he locked in later in the season, and after getting some rest and stuff like that. Yeah. Anyways, Draisaitl, I honestly thought he was like right there for me with Hellebuck until he got hurt near the end of the year, because then he had to miss games, and that obviously hurts his point totals and everything like that. But I mean, Draisaitl had a fantastic year. I understand what you're saying about all the power plays for it and stuff. I think when the Oilers miss McDavid and they're still able to kind of like keep the season afloat with a mediocre goaltending situation, a mediocre bottom six, a mediocre decor outside of maybe the top pair when you had Ekholm playing at his best with Bouchard.
Yeah.
You really see Draisaitl's value to that team, and it's
Yeah, I know.
it's kind of it's a paired responsibility with both him and McDavid. And I think everyone knows that already, but just seeing how Draisaitl was able to perform while McDavid wasn't healthy or just not playing period really stood out to me. And I mean, you guys said everything about Hellebuck, and now I want to get to the part about the voting, because I think we're done all of our awards. I find it so stupid that some writers are like, you know what, the goalies have their own awards, they don't need to win the Hart. Because I've heard that argument. I think Mike Johnson said it on I was listening to Overdrive, and I'm like, that is the worst
That makes
reason
no
ever.
sense.
Like, it makes no sense at all. Like, you could be the best goalie in the league, but also the best player overall in the league. And I hate that we all talk about how important goaltending is, and I hate the idea that some people have that it's just like, oh, you could have average goaltending and still make a run in the playoffs, because I think your team needs to be so spectacularly great to like kind of overcome average to bad goaltending. And I think we see it very, very rarely. I think we saw it with Colorado when was it Kemper was there for when they won the cup. It wasn't Grubauer, right?
It was
I was
Kemper.
there,
Yeah,
so-
it was Kemper.
It was Kemper, and Kemper wasn't that great, but that team was so stacked. They were kind of the exception to the rule. I think an earlier version you see is Michael Layden in Philly when they lost to Chicago in the finals. And maybe you could say the Oilers last year with Stuart Skinner, but even Stuart Skinner played pretty well, like after he got pulled in Vancouver. And I'm not even a Stuart Skinner fan, but yeah. But I just think it's so stupid that goalies have votes taken away because they have the Vezina available to them. Or they just don't get looked at the same value. And I think it's a lot more flashy to go with somebody like Draisaitl or Kucherov because they put up the big point totals.
You could make that
And
same.
it just really frustrates me.
You can make
Like, I
that.
don't know.
You can make that same argument. Like the forwards have the Rocket Richard, the Art Ross,
Yeah.
the Ted Lindsay. So why do they need the
Selkie.
Hart?
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. I
Like, what?
I see people saying that. I'm like, it's the most stupid argument to me. Because if
backwards.
how about you already said the stats sub, like it's you don't see those numbers very often for a goalie, especially when his sample size is so large.
Yep.
Like it's just very rare, and I'm just frustrated that people don't take it into consideration. Then that's all.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Did we have anything else lined up? No, that was
We're
it.
a little long. We had Lou in New
Yeah.
York, but
Oh shit! I forgot about
we
Lou.
can do that next show.
Yeah,
We're a little long.
I don't think the situation's gonna change there at all,
No.
really.
Yeah, he was just sucked.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We
Well
could,
said.
It was through and through.
dude, like we could do a whole. There's a few teams we could do a whole podcast on.
Yeah.
Like the Sabres, the Islanders. I think Pittsburgh might be there too. Like with what's going on there, Vancouver, the Rain. Did I say the Rangers already?
Poorly run teams. It's there's a lot of them.
Yeah, just
So much fun
yeah,
to
so-
just like
another time.
go over.
yeah. Honestly, we could even just do it during the summer.
Yeah,
Like we're gonna need
honestly, yeah.
content,
Yeah.
and it's just like what's going on with these teams. So I will find some stuff to do anyways.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I think you guys have to wrap there.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed the pod. Enjoy the game tonight, Stars. I was looking at the outline. Enjoy the game tonight, Jets versus Blues. Game 1 tomorrow, 8 p.m. Leafs versus Panthers. Hopefully we'll have another pod up sometime soon. Eventually, yeah, we might just wait till the games in Toronto are done and then go for the pod. We don't know yet. We also might have. We're still trying to figure out. We might have a guest, and we don't know if we're going to patch it into this episode. So if you guys have already seen it, then you've already seen it. But that honestly might just come out as its own video on our YouTube. And we might just do it like that. We're just still trying to decide what we're doing with that. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. It all kind of matters on how tonight goes. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy the pod. Have a great day. And yeah, thanks for listening.
Peace out.